Flights. You know what, nigga? You know what, nigga? You know what, nigga? I know something you don't know. Something you don't know. Something. In order for me to give you this information, promise me one thing. One thing. One thing. You don't freak out. You don't freak out. You don't freak out. Let's do it. I was in the middle of the storm. Lights. I came to this world, but I wasn't born. I changed your just to another form. I'm going hard in this bitch like a fucking porn. I never knew how to put in the chord.
I'm talking about before the physical life was even created. You humans got grace.
I'm here to carry out God's duties and responsibilities. I'm trying to live it up a big shall be killing me. I'm gonna figure goals out to all my enemies. Yeah, these niggas too generic for authenticity. I lost my way a long time ago. Yeah, all the time I feel like I'm alone. So whenever I feel like it's my time to go. Yeah. I'll be at a all-time high for sure. I know how you feel, how you feel, how you feel, how you feel. Yeah, but you gotta keep it real, keep it real, keep it real, keep it real. I'm psychic, yeah. I can read your mind for real. Yeah, for real.
Over that. What is space? Now, check this out. Gotta go deep and stuff like that. Stuff you ain't gonna find in books. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, if it's plagiarized, you might get on Google, type in these names where the language is plagiarized at, and take you to another area. It might represent it as heaven and things like that. Then you might think it's the concept of heaven and hell, and then you get all lost and not knowing that shit. You could be living in this type of mind state right now. Why? You know what I'm saying? Get rid of the in your night in that state. You know what I'm saying? You probably had a stressed out day at work. You probably like got off or something like that, want a drink or two to get these things off your mind because shit, dreaming about your boss equate to like a nightmare or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Real shit, I'm gonna tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? Dreaming about someone and some thinking they're in an authority position when you alive and woke and well-oiled running machine, but half of your day and your time got to go there. It's like a nightmare. You mean to tell me I can't wait to get off, and when I go to sleep, I'm dreaming about being here? Wait a minute. Say, you tell me I just got out the halfway house 19 months ago. Shit, I had dreams about it every day when I was free, though. Shit, was I free? You know what I'm saying? Shit. We gonna go deep. We gonna go deep so you can know how to expand things, bring it down to reality, understand the circumstance of it. And I might give you a pointer how to get out. I might give a trick or two how to get out that bed. How to get out that bed. How did I get out that bed from doing that esoteric bed? Because you was motherfucker esoteric committing crimes in the holy universal laws. You was committing goddamn going against universal laws, committing universal crimes. So we gonna help everybody in this motherfucker and let you know wherever I'm talking about, you already there. Just because your level of comprehension and percentage scale and where other area you got comfortable with, that's a mind state that bend in and become an organ that you care about more than the other chakra that bend in and become an organ. For you to even be aware of both of these things and then not have these things in good relatable energy, you already internally getting ready to get led to what the hell I'm talking about shit. Your own emanation, Hallel, and then you settle with Hallel's bitch, Sheol. And you get caught in your own reflection in this bitch. You see what I'm saying? You get caught. You emanate something you ain't had no business emanating. Your own Yeh Hallel. You see, it's Ye Hallel now. It's not just Hallel that we giving praise to. It's Ye Hallel. You took a piece of that and thought you was the shit like that down here for all purposes that was self-serving, not for the great spirit. All these forms got holy ones in them to let us know how to do it for the great spirit. You said, fuck the holy ones, took outside of you for yourself and only care about how you thought of it. Your own Ye Hallel now. Now it's Ye Hallel. Now, when you inside of your own mind, your light, guess what happens? You experiencing it to make it better, right? You want people to believe what you're looking at inside of your mind to make it come out as a voice, to make people believe it as a thought, right? So now you're reflecting. You're in your own she-hole. So, you created Hallel for yourself, though. You ain't with the holy ones, the beautiful ones. And on a beauty path, you took that for your own little combination, got in your own darkness, and created your own Hallel, your own little piece, your own little golem that you think you something more than what is playing out to your physical body, that you have to do some great things to even convince others that that's what you really at. And then for the most part, Hallel got a bitch. Sheol, the reflection of that. So you emanate a thought. Everybody else get to reflect for that, because when I emanate a thought, you can reflect to that. We all got the reflecting abilities. You just lost in yourself. You only emanate and reflect and only care about that. Your own thoughts you emanate and you only reflect how you feel about it. You know what I'm saying? So you create your own Ye Hallel. Then Hallel come with a bitch. Sheol, its own reflection. So which would motivate you internally to create what's happening outside of you, your own Hallel. Now, if it's Ye Hallel, you ain't doing it in order. So you got your own Ye Hallel. You get ready to create your own Hades inside of you and not getting ready to create no Hades, Uranus, Uramba. So you get ready to just create Hades for yourself. You in your own hell. You in your own mind. And then you're going to try to bring that into the uterus. You're going to try to bring that onto the platform, the surface, or mama's womb in some way, shape, or form. And then for the most part, Harambe, any kind of party, it ain't going to go in that direction. It's going to go back to hate. So you just back to Hallel. You know what I'm saying? So you just, yeah, Hallel. You know what I'm saying? You get lost. So you create Haiti, but it turned into Hallel because it's Haiti. But then go back to hate. You know what I'm saying? So it's just hell, you and hell. It just turned into you and hell if you want to translate that in English. You know what I'm saying? You took hell, brought it to yourself. Now everybody can see you in hell. You know what I'm saying? You and hell. You probably yelling inside, screaming inside, because every time in the external world you look in the mirror and pointing down, your dick small or something. We gotta take it there. It goes deep. We gotta take it there. I'm gonna give y'all some secrets and stuff too. I'm gonna give y'all good secrets and plans, all kind of stuff. Cause seeds and stuff. Cause we get spirits out of hell. We all people's spirits that be trapped and stuff. Oh, I'm saying we all good spirits. We don't want our spirits be trapped. But y'all don't know what these things actually is. And the word, look at it like this. Let's make it simple. Because this is for all continents. When you and your tribes and your continent and the spirit that helped you with your phenotype, skin type, and tongue, help you be tapped into this. This would allow y'all to get this information from people observing other people, read a book, and the word and the meaning throw you in a different direction to what it means. For something to be a word, it comes from a feeling. For something to have a feeling, has to be an experience. For something to be experienced, that spirit has to be in that space. You could be a church-going person. You spiritually in that space. You develop the mind to come up with thoughts of church, and then it bend in and become your actions. You go to church. You could be a spirit next to a person who in the spirit of thinking you hungry, and then you come up with things on your mind, rob a bank, and then it motivates you to go rob a bank. So this trying to help you understand that you could be right next to someone, but where y'all spiritually at could be in totally different situations. So your spiritual space is one thing. Then it emanates a mind state there to be aware of other spirits doing the same thing, and then it bends in and become actions for us to see where we at through these actions and polarizations and biases and filterships and shits and layerings and stuff like that, all the way down to our body and what's separating us between us, space within space. But we fill these numerals up with different life forms that come into them and move around atmosphere and environment. So I'm saying, I'm giving you good, healthy starting points so you don't get off track and think what I'm talking about is spooky, because everything I'm talking about, you could be in hell and still alive. So for the most part, the things that motivate you to have a dream is the same thing that motivated to be on a macro scale and you to experience the extremity of it, aka after death and things of that nature. Now, you know, a lot of atheists would like to throw things into this because they're trying to find their way out by already having some type of insecurity. So they'll say, well, for the most part, that don't mean anything because the brain emanates thoughts. So if I can shut off my thoughts and shut off my feelings, if I die, I'm not going to have a dream. So I'm not going to be stuck in something and things of that nature. Okay, that don't make no sense. You created a thought to think that, because don't ever forget, you came from a thought. You ain't come from the ground. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't come from already being a piece inside of your father or your mother. You know what I'm saying? You had to be, the form had to be made itself. Your spirit had to get trapped in that form. And you had to already be in that spiritual space your mother and father in with similar thoughts for it to even be a mind state and bend in and become similar facial features and things. But even though y'all still doing different things and y'all had different ideologies and one still have the possibility to rebel. And there's no such thing as when your father or mother lift their arm, you lift your arm at the same time, not knowing why. So that lets you know there's a sentient entity first, the observer, then the mind, things that allows us to connect in our less layered body to be inside of each other. And then for the most part, that allows us to share space and condense and make those thoughts and feelings condense, add into it, and it condense and become fleshly fluids. Then we can portal through each other and things of that nature. So this is how we live through each other. And then you can live through God, the Great Spirit, and get born through water, or you can get caught in a flux and get caught in a world where God damn it, you're not born and you can't find death. But here's the thing, when it comes to atheists, you was here to emanate a thought. So therefore, you're more aware of a previous circumstance that you wasn't able to be aware of, but you still live through. So anytime you're going through something as an experience, you have better ins and outs of how to go about it. Same way when it comes to what you think you could just shut off your dreams. And then for the most part, you're not going to what the hell I'm talking about. That makes no sense. You came here from a thought, but you going to a thought. So whatever thought you created, that's what it is. That's what you made up. But thinking is a natural thing. That's like saying I'm about to lift my left arm, but I don't lift my left arm. So that's saying, yeah, if I don't think and shut my feelings off, that mean when my thoughts and feelings is shut off. No, you're going to thought and a feeling. That mean you're trying to shut off thoughts and feelings. Think about it. You got a job at McDonald's and you flip burgers instead of being at the cashier. So a person may have a dream at the cashier that work at the cashier. You going to have a dream of flipping a burger and things of that nature. Yeah, it's still the. So look at it within that concept. You might think shutting off your thoughts will be you flipping burgers instead of being at the cashier or whatever the case may be. That don't stop you from having a dream at McDonald's. You just had a dream where you say, I'd rather flip the burger than be at the cashier. All right. So you just go to a dream or after death or a nightmare where you say, I'd rather not have thoughts and not have feelings. You just go to a dream like that. So you're going to be in a dream like I ain't thinking. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to choose not to think. You're going to have another dream like, man, I'm going to try not to feel. That's a hell, really. You go into a hell because life is feelings. That's how you create a physical form to feel. So you get retarded. You know what I'm saying? You can't stop from thinking. You had to produce a thought to think that you don't want to think no more. That's a thought. So you're going to go to a dream like, I don't like thoughts. So let me come up with another thought not to think. You better just hell. Y'all say y'all got to be careful. Y'all retarded. Y'all take natural things and do unnatural shit with it. Let's get into it. We 13 minutes in. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Perfect. So somebody just got their ass kicked when I picked Cant or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Real shit. Or I picked Chung Lee or something like that. Or I picked T-Hawk. They always try to make the Native American character all slow and blonky in all video games. And shit. I was saying, even on Streets of Rage, when you fight the first, the boss on Streets of Rage 2, or the second or the third one, the wrestler, big running dude, all he did was run around and hit you with a shoulder blade and cosplay Native American. Then you see white people playing the cosplay. You watch WWF and all you see is Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, and all goddamn Native hobbyism. I'm saying then they try to cosplay as the Aztecs and stuff. At least they got a few Mexicans, though. I don't know why they rather deal with Mexicans more than the natives and stuff like that. So they got the Rey Mysterio, Psychosis, and all that stuff. Like, why you allow them to be wrestlers and shit? I'm saying real shit. We got to have a white man that play us all the time, Kevin Nash. I don't want to see no. I'm saying real shit. NWO. Get out of here. I'm saying real shit. NW Hadino Shuni. Just change it to that. Y'all be good. Y'all be good. All right, now let's check this out. Right now, look, we're gonna get into deep dreams and shit like that. Now, here's the thing, right? They help you understand Hallel, the forever nightmare, and then you meet your Mecca, right? The feminine aspect of a Sheol. You lay in that bet, you lay in a shoo, shoo, woo, right? You the whoa, but it went to the woo. So you went to the southwest into your own internal energy and things of that nature. Then you laid in the sheet that the cloth that you have created from Hallel. So that's what make it shoo, shoo, shoo. The air ain't no longer less dense, it's too heavy dense. You made your thought, your atmosphere too cloggy. You made your smokeless flame too gray. And now all the colors was clocked together. So you created an actual form out of darkness, which plays out as gray or too much light or just something that blinds you. The metaphysical and the physical form, not the lack of something. No, lack of light or darkness isn't a thing. So for you to say, I see darkness because there's no light, you're already lost. Darkness represent accumulation, some heavy, or the accumulation of light and things of that nature. And then light just represent the lack thereof or less dense. So y'all think y'all live backwards. You think darkness is the less thereof of something or something lacking something. And you think the light is something fulfilling something or whatever the case may be. So y'all living backwards. It's really the light is the lighter deterioration, you frying something, evaporation, and the dark is something accumulating and getting heavy and fall and winter and got time to condense. So y'all live backwards because y'all not tapped into actual nature to see how it's actually playing out with your actual natures to see what's more in relations with the great spirit or not. So this is why your comprehension skills and your mentality is all flunked out and you only know about the Gregorian calendar. You don't know nothing about God's calendar. You don't know nothing about God. So you're on your own time, demon time. Your own understanding, and you think your own understanding goes. You got to find somebody else's understanding in a book where they written it based upon having either their own understanding or having an understanding of nature outside of them and relating it to their own natures and finding the most relatable percentage scales and detach it from the most unrelatable percentage scales, and then you'll be able to see those qualities in others on who's using things for monetary gains or not on a positive and a negative end. So I'm saying. Now you the person that's in a position that could be somebody's ancestor that if you their legacy down the line, you could be like, my grandfather wrote that Bible. You know what I'm saying? My grandmother created that language. And that was their cultural practices. And that's what my people was doing. If you can't do that, motherfucker, you already going to hell in some type of way. And I'm trying to save you and everybody. So at least listen to me and start comparing and contrasting whatever you've been lost in and see what make more sense. At least do that. At least do that for your spirit. At least that's all I ask to do. At least do that for your spirit. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Now, check it out. So when we get into this, Yeh Hallel, aka trapped in one's own light image or thought and feeling only. And Sheol, aka being stuck in that self-reflection of your own Hallel. So what is Hallel? Well, I explained that on another live stream, but we can break it in context. So before Gizzards come back, right? It's in this ending cycle, or the holy ones that's dealing with the last cycle of us producing organs for the great spirit, right? So that'll be micro, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Macro, the ending of winter time, the last 30 days of winter. Now it's gonna be the seed of it, the first at the beginning of winter. So that'll be the whole 90-day stretch. From which y'all want to consider Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces that just make 90 days. 90 days we go through, 90 degrees, right? So that's the 90 days of that sun in that pocket emanate what we experience on Earth as the death portion or the winter portion, right? So this also lets you know what sun position or pocket, not a star actually being there, that, you know, a lot of Wachihu or for that's the people who are all foreigners or even white people. You watch Superman, you watch a lot of these movies and stuff like that. When they're going to their Mormon planet collab, that's where Superman is at and things of that nature. They're just going to we're in their mind where they steal from Native Americans the spiritual understanding life and being tapped in and trying to act that out physically. And then now they're at a situation where they can just make movies about it, what they thinking about it themselves and destroying other people and things of that nature. So you have to understand that too. So they're going to Winterland and plan out creating that concept down here, making life hard, no matter if we're in wintertime or not. So you got to understand that and things of that nature. Like most of these movies, y'all favorite movies is about white superiority a lot of times and based on their animosity towards Native Americans. So the thing that the white man will be doing be what the Native Americans actually did. And the white man trying to convince foreigners that they're that. But behind closed doors, they're the ones just being evil and killing everybody. So you know it's not them. You know it's just plagiarizing other people's shit. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta look at it within that concept. But for the most part, it's just worshiping the sun within that pocket. Now as above, that'd be Hallel, right? Just those energies itself. as below, we can see that all throughout the year and on a larger percentage scale where that essence coming from. If you seeing things going through a freezing, a condensing, or even a death, even an internal death, not even a physical one, just something going through a transition, but it's at its last period before it can be born again. You're seeing that quality being played out in spring, summer, and fall, that we can see the most extremity and where that essence come from, and wintertime. And we could do that with the other seasons too. But I'm trying to help y'all understand the little second, the 7 pocket energy of the sky. And these is this star gates, not actual stars that they throwing satellites up there for y'all to understand actual Native American astrology and astronomy, and don't get lost in somebody other shit that it'll take you about before you die, like your grandmother, when you would die before your votes got met, before you see somebody walk on water and you died thinking that it was actual constellations in the sky. You know what I'm saying? It's when we saying constellations, that we're saying the whole world is a longhouse. So we're just keeping track of each pocket. That's how we creating the wheel. Even the Mexicans and the Aztecs, when y'all getting some synthetic concepts, so you don't even know how to pull from that holy and see how you meet acting these things out, no matter if we're going through that period of time in life, holy for us all. And then you be lost in your own mind in one pocket at a time. You may have got something good. The government may have created a system around that type of time, and that job is created on that foundation, and you work there all throughout the year, and the things that accumulate to make you feel like you're good, getting good representation, getting praise when you get ready to die. People going to remember you for all the wrong reasons. You're stuck and spiritually in that mental pocket, and before you die, boom, you're going to hell. You know what I'm saying? That's hell. So anything that you do internally, that it take other people's internal energy that they push out to make you feel validated to what you motivated inside to push out, even if you have to force other individuals to be able to do that, right? You're lost in your own mind trying to emanate a world that don't exist, but you had the ability to use something natural to do it, your mind. So I'm saying. So hell give you all kind of good ideas to take yourself to hell, because that's an energy on its own. If you don't understand how to do it for the great spirit, we're building organs. You create one for yourself and do organ implosion. You'll probably end up being sick before even being able to appreciate or enjoy any of your quote unquote fruitful covenants that's just based off expectations in hell anyway, or demon anyway. So this is giving you that representation to help you understand clearly before you get lost and think that it's a different ramification. And you think I'm just lost in some Bible shit, and I don't need no Bible because that Bible is my culture. And then I don't even need to talk about it spookism. I can talk about it in reality and talk about how you experience all this shit when you even still alive, bitch. So what make you think it's gonna be anything different? And we debunk the atheist quality that they try to make up the cope with shit too. We come real quick with that. Oh, let me fix this real quick. But because atheists, not this. The atheists would try to say, well, if I could shut off my thoughts and shut off my feeling, but for the most part, that's the point. You in a situation where okay, you still gonna go to a thought. You came up with that thought. What if I could shut off my thought? But for you to be thinking and feeling, that means you already here. You caught a thought, a feeling. You got mixed with parents that had thoughts and feelings, and we all on this cycle. And now you can feel and think. Any type of, you get ready to create organ implosion. Anything that ain't got nothing to do with continuously doing that for God and trying to find that in the holy holies out there. And any mistake and any insecurity from a previous lifetime that you look at and just think that I'm being punished at the moment, but you need to deal with yourself and realize it ain't got nothing to do with you being punished. Got something to do with, but you don't know how to deal with whatever you influencing you and impacting you and motivating you to externally. Learn how to not allow external things to influence you internally too goddamn much, because you add more percentage scale of you having to deal with that. So as a spirit, once you die from a previous body and a mind, that body go in the flesh, the mind go into the atmosphere, and then your spirit has that ability of that expansion and contraction when it was inside that form, that information, and giving it a pulse. Now your size is the level of ability you get ready to create as a mind and comprehension scale as a body to go into the same type of spiritual root race that you in again. And then for the most part, the spiritual size is going to manifest as the emanations, the mind, the space, that the location that represent that where you emanate a mind from, that condense and become a larger percentage scale of the space you still in and you didn't deal with in the last mind and body that you created in that space. And now it's going to be more of a percentage scale, not negative or positive, but once you start to live out your life, it's going to look negative. But it's just showing you got more of the percentage scale of you being a spiritual same size. So you got more, you're developing more awareness of how to do the same thing that you previously did. And it just so happens it's playing out as dislikes. You know what I'm saying? So these are things you got to know how to not affect you. So you're not adding more thoughts and feelings to it that add more percentage scale of your spirit expanding and contracting only at that size of those thoughts and feelings that you're going to get ready to get tired of and keep being that train of thought, line of reasoning of mistakes that you don't, or dislikes that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand it from a perspective of your emanating minds and thoughts. And teamwork makes the dream work. We're making an atmosphere and environment, and what you're adding to that is your own, your thought and your body, your actions to express that and put that into the world. Sometimes y'all need to realize it's important to keep some shit to yourself. It's important to keep some motherfucking shit to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. So, peep gang. Now, so Hallel, aka trapped in one's own light, image, or thought and feeling only. This is how you even have an imagination or a dream in the first place before we even talk about death. That's your Hallel. That's your Ye Hallel. You got a piece of the holy version of it that we all teamwork makes the dream work and create. Boom. Then the holy ones teach you how we craft that in the first place. If you're untapped into the holy ones, the holy people, holy, then you don't know how to do it for the great spirit. You don't know how to look at things greater outside of you that may be seen as representations that you're lost in the synthetic world to think that this was good and this was good. You know what I'm saying? For an example, you wouldn't even know your mother nipple and milk going in your body was good until somebody did that, and it meant more survival than not doing that. You wouldn't have known that until you went to experience that. But for the most part, don't get comfortable with that aspect and think that you could have that thought form directed to self again. No, try to find that elsewhere in the universe that you could play your part, or that energy. If that energy didn't exist, it wouldn't be nobody to come up with no common sense for you to survive, or probably even fuck for you to be here in the first place. Learn how to look at percentage scales of shit. You see what I'm saying? Now, Ye Hallel. That's when you take the Hallel, then get messages from the holy ones how to do it, and give grace to that, praise to that, and took your own Hallel. Right now is Ye Hallel. I have to use this English language to help y'all understand it. That's why I put on there. But there's a whole sentence I could break down a paragraph, not even using English, and it take your mind there and point at stuff, and you walking with me and stuff, and you like, oh, this word represent this feeling. Oh, we always be doing. I forgot that this what I'm doing. Let me keep charge of this now. And then, oh, this is what's creating this world, and this how this seed and this bush is even created. Like it's that deep. I'm telling you, like teamwork makes the dream work. It take trillions of us, all species, if we on one par, to be able to see that happen. To be like, let's put it to the test. You can't never get that many people on one par. Best you could do is get a group of people to do it, and the best y'all could do is be on all agreements to pluck from the land and build something that y'all had in y'all mind outwardly. But that's telling you that's what's going on. We actually creating the atmosphere and the environment itself. All species together. So I'm saying? So, all right, so let's break it down. Ye Hallel, aka trapped in one's own light, image, and thought or feeling only, and Sheol, aka being stuck in that self-reflection or Hallel, being stuck in the reflecting of that Hallel, aka you as a spirit stuck in self-reflection of all your emanations without a body to wake up in. Hallel, the masculine side of it, and Hallel is the masculine side of it, aka what you pushed out externally. And Sheol is the side of it that's feminine, aka what you received into, or your container, your womb, or in a nutshell, your trap, the thing that you're trapped in. You emanate a mind state, and then as a spirit, you're trapped in that mind state. And then now you could do that while you're still alive. You're like, why I think like this? Why I feel like this? I need to stop thinking like that. I need to stop feeling like that. Those type of situations already let you know what you kind of into. And what kind of experience that you haven't before you die. And this is more awareness now. When you was a baby, you had thoughts and feelings. But once you became 3 years old, you didn't remember those thoughts and feelings because your stimuli, tension span wasn't in that mind state long enough to be like, oh, this mind state bend in and become a way of me seeing something in my actions that I like and don't like, and I could do this next time to prevent it, or I could do this next time to continue it to go. But yet you be doing it. You know, when you start to experience a certain natural thing, you may not know what to do, but you might cry because you want that milk again, or whatever the case may be. So it's like, you know, when you're going through something for multiple times, you're developing experience, more awareness in it, and then you create a form for it to go into, even when you're not in that situation again. So that's like a thought form, thinking about something you have did. So when before you do it physically, you got more awareness and the ins and out. So even if you ain't think about everything you've seen physically, you could be more on your toes when you get ready to interact with the situation, right? So that's like, even if you're an atheist and you think, oh, I was born, but since I'm alive, that's on my brain emanating thoughts. All right, you think once you die or you could cut off dreams, that's it. No, the ability for you to be alive and now you have a natural thing called thinking, you already in the game. You in the game. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no way of shutting off the game. You wouldn't even motherfucker been here or whatever the case may be. So you already in the game and you can't get out of it. Ain't no way out the motherfucking game. So look, check this out. So Hillel is the masculine side of it, aka what you pushed out externally, and Sheol is the side of it, feminine. That's the feminine side, what you received into your container, your womb, your trap, and now you can only see yourself. You can only see yourself with no outside validation. So now God gives us, the Great Spirit gives us clear representations to decipher between what's your own understanding. And I gotta use the bathroom real quick, but I'm gonna leave y'all with a question and I want to see it in a comment once I use the restroom, right? Look, now God gives us now to help you understand it. So this ain't pseudo. So atheist or whatever, right? God, the Great Spirit, gives us a clear representation to decipher between what's our own understanding, get lost in this Hillel, if you don't believe it, and what's not our own understanding when we start to think. So, for an example, right? If it could be born or grown, it's part of the Great Spirit, reality, and existence. If it can't be born or grown, then it's synthetic or created out of death or something in its last process, something already alive in its last process, right? Like a human creating something that's already born here, then creating something like a time machine. That's dumb. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, look, if you there in the time machine, how can you go back in time and go see yourself in time? That's dumb. You have to be a person that create another world machine. And then you have to think that another time when you was another age is a different world that you can go to that you're still in. That don't exist. That's purely just dumb white man thinking. You know what I'm saying? There is no such thing as creating a time machine. That's dumb thinking. If you the one in the time machine, how the fuck is you going to a time where another you is at? That's dumb. It ain't you then. So whoever made up the concept that you can go see another you is purely just a dumbass thought in the first place. And if we spend any tax dollars on that, that's retarded. But look, check it out. It could be born. If it could be born or grown, it's part of the Great Spirit, reality and existence. If it can't be born or grown, then it's synthetic or created out of death or something in its last process, which means it's not part of reality and only in one's own understanding, their mind. So before I use the bathroom, this is what I want y'all to think on, and I want to see y'all answers and shit like that. So this is how the Great Spirit gives us clear separation on if you're doing something for the Great Spirit or not, or you're getting ready to go to hell and things of that nature based off your own understanding. For an example, right? What is the only place you can't experience being born or dying in? You know what I'm saying? Yet you can still experience it and things of that nature. Tell me where is the only place you can't experience being born or dying in? Now you on Earth, right? And you was born, right? Now tell me where on Earth, or tell me where somewhere or tell me anything in a mind or something like that, whatever. Tell me where is the only place you can't be born or you can't die? Let me go use the restroom real quick. I'm saying real shit. Hold on. How you put the oh. Let me see what y'all saying. There you go. Somebody already got it. Maui Ta, dreams. Dreams. Because you here and you have dreams. And you on Earth and you have dreams. That's the only place you can you can't be born or die in, but still experience somehow. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. You probably thinking like, wait a minute. No, I had a dream seeing somebody die. I had a dream of me dying and things of that nature, right? You woke up tomorrow and told somebody you had a dream of dying. So did you die? You know what I'm saying? Because if you died, if you experienced dying in your dream, should have died, right? But you woke up and told somebody you died in your dream, right? So you didn't die. It was just your dream, right? You know what I'm saying? So imagine getting stuck there. Imagine having a dream dying and you didn't die. Then you had another dream telling somebody that you just died. And then that just becomes a possibility of your life. You in hell. You see what I'm saying? So for an example, the only place you can't be born or die in, but still experience somehow is a dream. Even if you do experience dying in your dream, guess what? You're still alive experiencing it. So you're able to be born again on a smaller percentage scale, AKA waking up that day. So even when you're having a nightmare, you like, thank God I woke up and things of that nature, right? Because having a nightmare, and if you get ready to die, you want to hurry up and wake up. Then experience you having a dream, dying, but you woke up and you told a person, yeah, I had a dream, I died. I don't want to have a dream like that again, right? And then think about shit, you just being stuck in a dream, and that's a possibility for you to die. You know what I'm saying? You dying and you can't wake up. So you died, but you ain't gonna be able to die and you can't be born again. So you're gonna be in search for death and search for trying to stay alive and can't do neither one, yet you experiencing. You know what I'm saying? You know how hellistic that's gonna get ready to become and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know how hellistic that end up becoming and shit like that. You're gonna wish you was born again. And then you're gonna wish you can die and can't do neither one. Because every time you think you could be born, it might just be another dream. And every time you don't want to die again, you die. And then you got the possibility to die again. You can't never wake up and tell nobody. The next dream, you think you woke up and tell somebody, you can't never wake up again because you ain't got no body. Mentally, you ain't got no body. Your mind, you spiritually inside of a mind that's attached to a dead body. So you ain't got no body. And then you ain't got no spirit realm, nobody who think like you. They ain't got no mental form there. So you ain't got nobody. Nobody spark your fucking juice, baby. Nobody, baby. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. You know what I'm saying? So you got to peep game real quick. So even if you do experience dying in your dream, guess what? You're still alive experiencing it. So by you having a dream about dying, but you still alive and you woke up and you was like, "Fool, yeah, man, I had a dream about dying." You glad you had that ability, right? You better thank God, bitch. You know what I'm saying? For that. Now, think about the mechanisms you be in to produce a dream in the first place. I'm about to teach you how you got to hell. I'm about to teach you how you went to hell now. Let's get it. And how you can't escape it anyway. It ain't what you do, it's how you do it. You either making this form for God, or when you do it for yourself, that becomes hell. And these are things y'all coping with. And did nobody die and come back yet to tell y'all that's what it is, except me. I done did this 100 times. White man and killed me 1,000 times and shit, like over 100 times and shit over the centuries and shit like that, and shot me to space and said, if you come back and you can remember, I took your language and you could teach it another way to shit. You got me. You know what I'm saying? That's how a lot of white men writing down books somewhere be thinking and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. But let's check it out, right? So for example, the only place you could be born or die in and still experience somehow a dream, even if you do experience dying in your dream, guess what? You're still alive experiencing it. So you're able to be born again on a smaller percentage scale, aka waking up that day. Now it becomes real to you after death. So the dream become real to you, because even if you're still alive, you thought that was real. When you peed on yourself in your dream, you thought that was real. When you thought you was flying in your dream, when you died in your dream, when you was getting chased by that little green monster in your dream and shit like that, you thought it was real. You know what I'm saying? But if you ain't got no body to wake up and be like, oh damn, that was just a dream, shit, it is real to you. At this point, it's about to be real if you dead. You know what I'm saying? If your body ain't there, it's about to be real, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So real shit. So look, now it becomes real to you after death, because this is why y'all gotta be careful what kind of state of mind y'all in before y'all die in this motherfucking shit. Because everybody gotta go through that little grace period, but you either did that for God, or you got some grace if you made mistakes, or you did that on your own volition and thou will shall be done type qualities and just you'll go to hell. But let's check it out. Right now, it becomes real to you after death because you don't have your physical body anymore. Yet these thoughts and feelings was still able to be produced due to the fact you were alive in the first place, coming and you was a thought in the first place, coming from your father and mother thoughts, then body. So anything that come from your body came from your thoughts. It's that same process and shit, or you wouldn't even be here in the first place and shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be like, well, when I'm here, I can just shut off my thoughts, and you were still aware in some type of way when you was a baby and you don't remember them thoughts. So someone else had to be aware for you to be here. Your father had to be aware to be horny of your mother when he seen your mother. Your mother had to be aware to let him in and things of that nature. And then therefore, there's some awarenesses that's beyond you for you to be here. So there's gonna be some awarenesses you created to help that be. So I don't give a fuck if you believe it or not, bitch. That awareness is there. You know what I'm saying? So shit, you gonna be aware of some shit you just think that you wasn't aware of, so you think you didn't have to care about it. You know what I'm saying? There was probably a lot of thoughts you had when you was a baby and shit like that. You was crying and shit. Your mother was stuffing a bottle on your mouth, and all you needed was your ass scratched. You don't even remember them thoughts. You probably forgot them thoughts 6 months later and shit like that. But shit, 6 months ago, them thoughts meant something to you when you first came out your mother's ass. Them thoughts, you were like, damn, stop stuffing a bottle on my mouth. I don't speak English. Just scratch my ass. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, shit, the real traumas you don't remember and shit like that. You experienced that. Now you get ready to experience that on a more greater awareness and shit. But right now, you just 18 years old reading an Alice Crowley book. So in your mind, you just like, I'm a scriber. I'm a scribe. I do scribes in my mind, and I can turn off my thoughts. In my mind, I'm God. On earth, I'm a drunk. And so at some point, it's like, get the fuck out of here. I said, shit, go to hell. Bitch, go to hell. And I'm not saying if you drink alcohol, you go to hell. It ain't what we do, it's how we do it. You could be a person that don't drink alcohol. You eat grass. If you eating grass on earth and robbing banks, but in your mind, you still think you God, you still going to hell. It don't matter if it was grass. It don't matter if it was goddamn alcohol. It don't matter if it was robbing banks. It don't matter if it was taking somebody's land. It don't matter if it was a whole bunch of shit. A whole bunch of shit. There's gonna be some negative. If it's some negative shit, it's negative. It don't matter how somebody turn that shit, try to make it look like gold. It don't matter how much somebody try to do that, try to touch it and be like, but I heard that song. Do I gotta hear it again? What magic trick they did? I'm touching it. It's still shit. You know, you start smelling your hands. I can't believe anybody else believe my bullshit. I said real shit. You start thinking real good to yourself. You start thinking real good to yourself. And shit. Real shit. Let me game, Pete. Motherfucking game. Right? So basically, right? You have more awareness and time and mental form of experiencing the things you have already experienced in lesser scales and in lesser life forms and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's almost like an animal being trained, a dog being trained. A dog was a wild dog, but once it became a house pet and stuff like that, it might got more common sense in some type of way, or how to move around, or not have to worry about certain things that their fellow animals in the woods still may not have to be privy to and may be smarter on. You know what I'm saying? They still getting bit by raccoons and shit like that, catching rabies and shit like that. So you see what I'm saying? Maybe a little shit like that help you understand. The more you experience something, the more you have the awareness of something. So that goes for the negative qualities too. That goes for our thought forms too, right? You can have a manipulating thought. You could be more manipulative than another individual that's unseasoned in that area. A little bit more unfamiliar. Probably didn't have as much experiences. So you ain't even got to be having that experience with that person at that time. You could come up with better thoughts than that person, the ins and out on how to rob the bank and make sure the teller don't push that little button up under the cashier and shit like that. You'll be able to peep game. That person probably didn't even rob no banks yet, so they didn't even know the bank teller had a button up under it and shit like that up under the cashier. So it's things that you can put them on, even if y'all ain't go rob the bank yet and shit like that. Just pure off your comprehension and where you at spiritually. So that be your imagination, the smaller scale of your dream and the smaller scale of your hell. You know what I'm saying? It's the same mechanism. It's the same seed, because they play out the same traits. You know what I'm saying, for an example, y'all gotta have equilibrium energy. Just because you got a Super Nintendo and another person got a Sega Dreamcast and another person got a PlayStation and things of that nature, yeah, they all got different processing systems and things of that nature, but you're in the world of video games. So it don't matter if you're playing an old game, you're playing a new game, or whatever the case may be. Your new game might got more information and more RAM and more memory cards than the Sega Genesis video game and things of that nature, right? So that game will be able to, whoever playing that game could talk more about video games than whoever still playing 2D and Sonic and Sega the Hedgehog and things of that nature. But in some way, y'all both still playing video games, aka in this concept, just because you smarter than one person, you got more awareness, even if y'all ain't in that hell physically, y'all in that hell mentally, and let's replace that with robbing a bank. Just because you know the ins and outs and where the bank teller got the button at and shit like that another person don't mean that both of y'all ain't emanating thoughts in hell. You see what I'm saying? Real shit. And then when y'all go to sleep, y'all already dream about it and shit like that. And when you die, you ain't got no body. You ain't gonna be able to wake up and be like, I had a dream about being at a bank. You gonna wake up and be at the bank again. You might wake up and think that you ain't at the bank and then wait because you ain't got nobody to wake up and tell nobody. Y'all say you just stuck at the bank hell. I'll say stuck at the home saving bank, PNC bank hell. Oh, but You stuck at bank hell and shit. Other than that, you stuck in debt. It don't go no further than that. A lot of y'all go to sleep right now be thinking about, man, my bill, do I gotta pay taxes and shit like that? White man already got you in hell. You get ready to die and go to hell. You didn't let a white man sacrifice you to go to heaven for you to go to hell and shit like that. A white man get ready to be like, shit, I never gave a fuck about none of that shit. My forefathers was on that damn money in the first place. And you get ready to be like, oh shit, was stressed out before you on a deathbed. You got to worry all your grandkids and shit. Y'all get that bill done yet before I die? For your last call, you get ready to go to hell and shit. They're going home saving bank hell. I'm saying real shit on for that. That's all you was thinking about for you. All you was thinking about, damn, I'm in debt before death. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Y'all save y'all spirits, man. Save y'all motherfucking spirits. Save y'all spirits. You ain't going to Wells Fargo hell. Now look, check this out. So like I said, so basically you have more awareness and time and mental form and experiences, things you have already experienced. You always, when you was alive, you was at the bank a lot trying to figure out, damn, I pay my bills, I pay my taxes, shit like this shit. So your mind already real versed in that world, even on your deathbed. You know what I'm saying? Shit, it's a lot of shit you can't take with you. You gonna take that with you. I'm saying that right now. You taking that with you. Nobody told your internal world to be all fucked up and shit, and everything you did inside that externally thought it meant something and shit like that. So you taking that right along with you. You might not be able to take that money and all those things that made you add all those bills with you to put you in that stressed out piece in the first place. But the stressed out is the seed before it manifests and become the environment. Teamwork makes the dream work. Pluck it, and then it can become McDonald's and Wells Fargo. You know what I said before? So you forgot that. So you're gonna be like, damn, I'm gonna die. I still can't pay my bill. You're gonna die in debt, and you're gonna go to that world of shit. That's the first thing you get ready to take with you. The seed that even create McDonald's in your dream, there's a whole nother restaurant and bank and shit like that. That probably ain't even called goddamn Home Savings of Wells Fargo or nothing like that. It's about to be some whole other shit. That's a whole other shit. You stuck up under. You got a whole 1,000 pounds of gold on top of your back. Ain't really a back at all. You think you in a body. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even know you can lift a whole world of gold and shit like that. Every time you lift your head a little bit, there's somebody with a bucket hat saying, hey, carry this little extra load and shit like that. Your back hurt and shit. You might got YouTube in your dreams. You might be like, what Uriel talking about? Then I'm gonna say some shit like, yeah, that's why y'all be feeling like y'all got the whole world on y'all shoulders. You're like, oh, I don't want to watch this. Oh, y'all saying you gonna hate everything. You gonna break one phone, there's gonna be another phone there. You know what I'm saying? Elon Musk come out with another phone, it's just gonna pop up on the desk out of nowhere. In your dream, it's normal though. It ain't gonna be like you woken alive and be like, damn, I had to work to go buy that phone. And the dream is just there. And in a dream, you ain't know no difference. You don't remember being born and you don't remember dying. You just remember waking up, oh, I'm in my room again. Oh, this is my phone today. Let me go. No, said the new year. You in hell. You can't get rid of shit. You can't get rid of your own shit. Everything played out in reverse. When you was alive, you was too busy trying to dump off your own shit on others. Your own internal junk in your own backyard, aka was motivate you inside you and throw it in other people's yard and shit like that. Externally push that off. Like I give a fuck about what's in your yard being in my front yard or something like that. All that trash. Where this plastic bag come from? We didn't create plastic bags over here. You know what I'm saying? Like you be thinking like this, like where this trash come from floating around? They got the nerve to tell me I ain't cleaning up litter and land and shit like that. I ain't even create this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be thinking about that, about guns, about a whole lot of shit. Whole lot of shit. Let's get back to it. So even when you experience so like I said, so basically you have more awareness and time and mental form of experiencing things you already experienced in lesser scales of the spirit, birth, and life cycle and reincarnation. You even experience that while you're still alive, aka the more you're able to do something, the more you're able to be aware of what's going on next time you do it, aka this is Sheol, being stuck in your own reflection or moon, but only given the light of day to your own Ye Hallel, aka your dream and mind. And Sheol is you reflecting on that, aka in the first place, the things you was reflecting on in the first place. So this is how you get stuck in your own reflection, aka Sheol. And that reflection you're stuck in is that Hallel, the thing you emanated, that was your own mind. So this is what we're always doing anyway to make that relatable. Teamwork makes the dream work, and to be portal into a slower version into this world. When you do that metaphysically, and then you're unrelatable, you detach from it, condense and to become physical, because you have no other people that like that type of thought and try to separate from it. So even if it is spirits that's floating around in your same space and they still alive, the thought and feeling, it'd be something that they're running away from. It'd be you in that space. You might even have a woman that's in a mind and body that's attractive, and the man that see her, it'd be all kind of situations that prevent them from having sex, liking each other. So it ain't nothing you can do to come back. It's like the thought form of the seed in that space you in is just unrelatable to how other people doing things, that they rather be higher on a percentage scale of being more relatable because it's better for their life in their own subjective way in some way. See what I'm saying? And you have to understand that from a spiritual level and how this play out physically too before you even want to jump there, because you want to don't believe something or whatever the case may be, but you dream. You got to become 18 to start having your own opinion and understanding why you dream. Ain't that about a bitch? So you about to sit here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, where I don't even got to talk about death to break down what I'm talking about. And all you got to do is believe micro and macro. So me talking about how I'm talking about it and how you can experience it even while you're alive is the micro scale of it. And even through death or in a coma, that's macro scale of it. The only reason a person wake up and can't remember themselves after a coma ain't necessarily because of the trauma of the physical damage. It's because they probably had too many other experiences in that dream that took them away from the experiences, thoughts and feelings that was chakras, that was more closer attached to the organs that it was bending in that type of cycle, when the organ before it got damaged and they got put in a coma was running like a well-oiled running machine. When the organ get damaged, the mind state that bend in and become it gets scattered. And when the thoughts get scattered, the spirit can't collect them and make it flow in that direction so that adrenaline can start to be on this healing process a lot faster and a person can get more control. So this will allow you to be all over the place and you're in a coma, but you're going from dream to dream to dream as if you was alive. And you probably just switched, so didn't know how to control your internal life when you was alive. And even while you're in a coma, that you didn't know yourself, so you was just scared of yourself the whole time. All these dreams is you being scared of yourself, so you'll forget even if you was able to wake back up. Everybody don't wake back up. They'll be still alive, but you know, the doctor will probably end up calling the family and say, do you want us to pull the plug? Because you can't keep spending money. And it's like 6 months that this person been in here and they ain't getting ready to wake back up. The spirit can't collect their thoughts, so it could go in that natural direction it went, how it previously went, to make that organ in the first place, so that adrenaline condensing into organ flow could be replicable again, and then that person could heal and have full gain consciousness, gain control of their consciousness again. That's what that is, consciousness. The spirit can't get control of the consciousness no more, depending on how much it got knocked out and how strong that spirit was of knowing itself. If it didn't know itself, it didn't know how to have that care for things that it was self-motivated to do, that it was more positive to be like, this is what I care about, to bend in and become a purpose of wanting to live, and that organ start to get replenished, even if it is still at a damaged space. You'll be able to wake up and a doctor keep you alive off aesthetics or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, when a spirit didn't know themselves, they lack care too. So any negative situation that they manifested, that they was more on the percentage scale being less cared for, damage them, and their spirit is emanating those type of dreams, and those dreams are so not connected with the holy and nature, and they're in their own natures, it's unrelatable. So all these scattered thoughts and feelings is so unrelatable, they don't know how to collect them, aka being that relatable spin cycle as a spirit, where you're emanating thoughts in the first place to even give yourself assistance to take your thoughts that scattered and help it get back on track. And then once you're in that limbo and things of that nature, you fade away, you fade away, you fade away, you fade away. And then your spiritual sides start emanating those only abilities that wasn't attached to anything that was relatable, aka physical. And then for the most part, you get ready to be in some metaphysical concept and not be able to condense, aka give birth, give life, a thought and feeling to something that don't got enough other thoughts and feelings to condense and become physical. So you get caught in metaphysical life, your dream, your first body, your less dense body, and you don't know how to shut it off because it ain't something to shut off. Once you have an experience, you start to develop awarenesses. And anytime an awareness and a physical version of it die, the spirit always has that ability to create an awareness. So you're always going to be aware of what you just did. and heavy and lesser dense. So this would make you end up being aware of death. So even if you're still alive and you could witness someone else dying or something dying, that's how the spirit that's in a alive body create the mind state that, oh, now I got this superpower. I'm able to be aware of death. Now we brought that from the mind and in the world. So now you get to experience that even if you ain't physically experiencing that. So everybody got to die. Your physical representation. That don't mean your spirit ain't did that whole time creating the concept that you can experience that without the physical experience. So that's the metaphysical form. But if you did it the wrong way, it has no connection to become physical again. So you stay in limbo. That's hell before we even call it something negative. And at a time, a group of spirits had to do it and other spirits had to go through that limbo and have grace to realize that's a thing and compare and contrast that's negative or positive. Before, this is just something that we're bringing this thing in the world just like anything else. See what I'm saying? You have to understand it like that. There's things that we was just pure. We was with the Great Spirit and on the holy war ground in front of the holy council fire and all on the beauty path. When you lose that, you create things that's synthetic. This is one of the most extreme negative things that ever been created. So we all witches and wizards have spirits, but it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. And you could do something dumb and use it for ego or some shit like that and meet your own demise. And it take other people to see what you done to know that, okay, I want to be wise. And that person is the first representation of what it means to be a fool before that existed. See what I'm saying? Thought the getting it in was the getting is good while the getting was good. And we could do that on micro and macro scales. So always have this in your mind from an equilibrium perspective. You could do something for dumb reasons and you could do something for good reasons. And there's qualities to understand those procedures and mechanisms. What's good for you may not be good for someone else, but whatever you're doing, if it's larger on a percentage scale of agreements with other people, other than the possibilities of negative agreements, then it's closer to the Great Spirit. And at least you trying, even if you can't fully get it done, you're going to have grace in some way, no matter how much you fall, if you in that direction. The other direction, you know better, you should do better. You know better and act like you don't. That lie is used for manipulation, regardless if you think in the external energy, other people being a fool to your tactics. That's something you created internally and you motivated yourself internally to do that outwardly. So it play out in reverse. What you did outwardly, you die. Now you inside your own mind and you only one dealing with your own creation. So now you got to deal with yourself and everything you did that you thought you was getting over outwardly. You got to get over on yourself inwardly. And see how yourself like it. And even if you have a whole bunch of dreams of getting over, you're going to get tired of getting over. And you're going to force yourself to be in a position that somebody could take advantage of you. Then you ain't going to be able to do that. You're going to be like, damn, I'm being open for you to take advantage of me. Why you don't want to do that? Then that's going to be a dream you in the hell. You're going to wish you could be born again and wake up like, man, I had a dream. Oh, so you're like, damn, yeah, go to hell. Oh, well, shit, now, Pete, game, we ain't done. Now, look, right? So, like I said, so you even experience that, everything that I was breaking down, while you're still alive. AKA, the more you're able to do something, the more that you're able to be aware of what's going on next time. AKA, this is Sheol, being stuck in your own reflection or moon, but only given the light of day of your own, yay, hallel. This is why I tell y'all it's so important to not allow negative people to make you a part of them. And if you have to fight fire with fire, it's because they're blocking you from doing something that you wasn't trying to be attached to in the first place. So they go to a more extreme hell. But if you allow them to make you them and you start to act just like them, right? Just as much as you do things to others, you get the same negative energy through the eyes of the Great Spirit of which you have allowed others to do to you. And if you have allowed someone to take your heart, you know what I'm saying? And play their same game, then for the most part, it play out in reverse. You just allowed the external world to motivate your internal world to be extra reactionary, and you didn't know how to do it your own way. So you still allowed that happen. So it play out still for you in reverse. What you allow happen to make you just like them and play that negative energy out, and you still deal with that in your own mind too. And in your hell, it's gonna be you having to learn how to not allow external things to influence you. And in your own mind, things that appear to be external is only different sides of you. And it may appear to look like people you hated when you was alive and stuff like that. And then you're going to have to learn how to not allow that hate for this energy, this person that's really just an energy of yours that you inside of dealing with. You have to learn how to not allow yourself this time to influence you to do that negative thing, even if it's playing out as the image of the person you hated when you was alive. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to see that person in your dream and not dislike them anymore. And if they're giving you hate in that dream, if you're trying to make it out of it, you got to learn how to be more relatable. So even if you have to put yourself in a situation that it ain't what we do, it's how we do it. If you do the things that they're doing, the purpose behind it is different. And the smallest, simultaneous, most peeled back layer God give us the gift to understand is if we're going to do it for God or not. Can it be born or not, or can it be relatable or not? And that's how you'll be able to decipher or whatever the case may be. AKA, you is doing something that ain't got nothing to do with that, and you're building your own juice up to do that without that outside influence. And in this case, it's yourself that when you was alive, you thought it was something outside of you influencing you. It was yourself. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, if you could be in that energy, then you could do the same thing that something will motivate you to do to be just like it. The purpose behind it is different now. And that's God plucking you out, and then you'll come back in the world and be able to do that. And you'll be stronger than any person, even if they're just part of the lineage of those people that person that did that to you. And you probably won't even have to lift no finger this time. Your mind be the weapon, and saying one thing will make them have the comprehension of whatever that they know they're doing is wrong. So I'm saying, because you got more experiences, you got more spiritual travel than them and other people, so you're able to have more comprehension. Even if you were born through a younger body at that point, they just have more adult knowledge on things that protect vulnerabilities. You know what I'm saying? So think about it like this. If you're not able to wake up from a situation or of experiencing death and pain, yet just to wake up to another day to do the same thing, and it don't stop, and you can't be born again because you're stuck in a limbo of being born in the lesser dense realm, aka just giving birth to a new idea, and your ideas are so unrelatable to anything outside of you that it has no connection to condense back into reality with other spirits doing the same thing for you to have a way to be born again, aka this is organ implosion. Before the organ becomes an organ, it's just your mind and that you're lost in without it having a connection to come back or get help condensing with fusion, friction, pressure with others. That's the first way that we make the internal world sky and ground, that before it's heavier and dense. As a spirit, we emanate a mind. That's our first layer around ourselves, dealing with ourselves. And the more relatable it's able to be in communion with other people doing the same thing for us to even realize we're next to other spirits and you ain't just the only spirit. And then those is the things, that's awarenesses, that substance that's creating fusion, friction, and pressure, and it become our universal atmosphere and condense and become the environment. The more we add life, thoughts, and feelings, it become the expiration dates that we're calling death for us to experience it on a slower rate, for us to experience each other, and we keep producing that. And if we do that for God, it become an organ, and we can have organs that represent that. And if we're doing it for ourselves, that's organ implosion. We create a form to get us out of here. So it goes inside, we go outside, back in. We don't go from the inside out and as above, less dense, as below, heavy dense. We did that, came here, then did organ implosion. Same thing we did to get here. We ain't do it for God. So we did outside in, and as below, as above. So you organ implosion, spirit evaporation. As without, you pluck from the world based on your own mind. That's as within. So that's organ implosion. You even feel illnesses before your time at time, right? So that's as without, as within. Then that's as below. You already below in that heavy dense. And then as above, you're shrinking your spirit and making a heavy clog in the less dense world, though, right? So that's get ready to rise. And then your mind rise, but that cloud so thick it doesn't be vague and fade enough because it's something you're harnessing. And if you ain't got no body to wake up in to act those things out as a spirit, you get trapped in that. And it takes time for that one to fade because it's so heavy. So many thoughts and feelings of justifications and help of other people's thoughts and feelings to be there and shit like that. So that's what's creating Sheol, the bed you lay in, from all those collections of those Hallels that you produce for yourself as ye. Now you in that ye Hallel in your own Sheol, reflect itself, and you can't pass on. You're stuck in your own mind as an atmosphere, and that atmosphere is on Earth still as a representation, because other spirits in that space have the ability to think about it. So once they interact with that thought, internal impact influence, and then they rub up with it what they thought and feel it and don't like that feeling, they try to separate from it and don't want to bring it. And then that's when you start to experience getting help, making your dream even bigger, but not having a physical representation of connection with others for it to connect and then condense to be physical. So you're getting help to be stuck in a metaphysical version that you only think is physical. It's only real to you and your own dream. And you still here in this world because it's made up all the things of this world. You just in your own version of it. And until that fade, and you can do spirit evaporation, and then that just goes away and no one think about that no more. And God fart that out. And then you just don't exist no more. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Man, that take a long time, because it took a long time for you to build up that first thing in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to be careful what y'all bringing in the world. Real shit. What's going down?
Happy Tuesday. I just wanted to say a quick thing. Blinkerton City, shall we? Cheers, my friends. Holy tits.
Hold on, what happened? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
I'm off a blinker.
Yeah, you probably just retarded. I said nothing you did, nothing you said works. You know what I'm saying, so I want you to know that too. Always remember, you just spoke the English language. Oh, shit. You speaking some damn English language. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to do anything you just thought you did anymore. You know what I'm saying? Based upon you don't even know what I said. You know what I'm saying? You trust me, you don't know about no water flow over here. You don't even know about your own backyard. You probably scared to death of your own next door neighbor. You watched in the game already. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna have no choice but to have thoughts and feelings of what you think I mean. Now you in the hell. Then you're gonna start having nightmares or dreams that you don't know why you having them dreams and shit like that. Shit, that's it. I'll put you wherever I want to put you at. I'm saying real shit. Real shit. You just can't be having no dumb shit that motivates you internally and then you want to externally do that. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to understand that come from stages of needing validation. When the spiritual energies I'm talking about, it's a self-travel. So any seed of I need an external validation, or I'm creating an external persuasion, and then you're doing that based upon me, and then you see my title and you see what I'm talking about, that's something that you had inside of you. And you motivated that outwardly, and you gave yourself into the hands of Hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's got to be something you don't believe. That's what the devil is a lie. Hell don't want you to believe it. So in your mind, what is you doing? Producing a whole bunch of thoughts and feelings. Now, since you speak the English language and you probably atheist or something, in your mind, you're coming up with a whole bunch of thoughts and feelings of you don't believe it. So that's as far as your mind work, the English language, but you're just producing thoughts and feelings about what I just put you in. The end. I don't care about what you think about it. Especially if you listen to white man and stuff like that, y'all don't be having no common sense about nothing when it comes to spiritual shit, things of that nature. I'm saying real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit, it'd be just as simple as that. Like I don't know why y'all get lost in concepts and things of that nature. Well, I'm saying, so whatever you thought, okay, that's cool. For an example, right? You sitting here thinking a lot about that's not real, that's not real, that's not real. Okay, you experienced it, regardless of how you experienced it, even if you're still alive. You're pointing to something now and saying, and you're developing thoughts and feelings off of it. You're saying that's not real, and whatever you're getting ready to add to it to say is not real. So you're already there, building your world there. So you gonna have a dream about how something ain't real. You're gonna have a conversation, and then you're gonna bring that concept in the world. You're getting ready to write it down on a piece of paper. Hey, this is why this is not real, and this is why this is not this. Yet it's really on your mind. The shit really on your mind. It might not be exactly what I'm saying. You trying to debunk it. It's on your mind. You have to think about it to try to debunk it. See, this is why atheists is going to hell. If you not into that, you're not supposed to think about it at all. This is how people who religious is going to hell. If it's something you really believe without no validity, you just a person who have things on your mind that lead to you being a walking hamburger and hot dog. These is dichotomies that y'all just lost in the mind. Your mind is a natural thing. Y'all use your mind for shit that they made for. This why y'all have y'all dreams. Everything y'all be into is what's motivating y'all dreams as the first seed of, I'm trying to stop y'all from having extremes. And but y'all don't understand. Y'all don't want to get, y'all don't hear me though. All right. Yeah, y'all don't even want to believe me and say I'm back. Y'all just want to think, oh, he just the people of the peoples. He just part of the people. So they already think like that. He ain't actually back from no, we all the same spirits and shit like that. You can't say that in one breath and say you ain't. That's dumb. You're retarded. How you think we get another species? How you think we get another land and stuff like that? It ain't just popping out of nowhere, bitch. I said, it ain't my fault you ain't tapped in with life and shit, but you here though. So you just off your own understanding, right? Anything that I'm telling you, you don't believe me. You get ready to create your own understanding about it. Me, this ain't my own understanding. Let's break this down. See this let's break this down. This is even for the atheists right now. Let's break down. What does it mean to have your own understanding and not have your own understanding if everything is subjective? Y'all say, oh, let's break it down. Okay, cool, right? Let's go back to relativity, relations, and being relatable and things of that nature, right? We can't go and pick up what it means to be relatable and put it on a scale, right? But me and you can experience what it means to be relatable and what it means to be unrelatable. Me and you can experience planting a seed the wrong way and it don't germinate, and planting a seed the right way. So there's something outside of us that don't have nothing to do with our desires and expectations that could be done right or wrong, all the way down to morals. We don't even need a goddamn book to know we shouldn't kill. It don't have to anything to even do with death. Even if the person died, the person that they was attached to, the people and their family and stuff like that, just the remorse that they have, and you could put yourself in someone else's shoes. That alone, we can add so many concepts to even thou shalt not kill, and why we don't need a Bible to understand that, and why I took that actual experience in real life before we even had a language to even be like, this is a good thing to put in the Bible. Bitch, is this having experiences first? All right. So what I'm actually trying to purvey is actually help y'all understand, regardless of what you think with your bias, you're using the very thing itself to do it. So regardless of your thought, you're using the very process of thinking to do your thought. You know what I'm saying? So the process of thinking is the process of the thing that's condensing to become adrenaline and become an organ. So how you think, you could produce a better one. If you want to do this on your own understanding, it's going to be flunked out. So for the most part, having not your own understanding is knowing that it's things outside of you, and it can come in many ways for you to understand it. As long as that you understand, if you could be relatable outside of you, you are better relatable inside of you in some type of way. The more you don't understand that, you're unrelatable already, not knowing how to justify it's somewhere you're unrelatable inside of you. So it's your natures you're not tapped into. So it's impossible for you to be fully tapped into the nature outside of you. So you'll be even like an atheist saying that your only new form of information, you got to wait till NASA say it. And until NASA say it, you going to just be happy with going to McDonald's. And until NASA tell you the new Adam Big Mac, you find with your just day-to-day life, and you don't think you have to do no work in brain power, things of that nature. Okay, dead brains. I'll say those are dead brains. And then we put our minds in the hands of individuals that might be just practicing eugenics and shit for you to care about McDonald's and look like a walking hamburger and goddamn Big Mac in the first place. Do you understand me, bitch? I'm about tired of y'all goddamn humans. Learn. All I'm saying. This is the highest education. Everybody's saving a motherfucking spirit. 4 + 4 becomes easy as hell. You'll understand spirit math and regular math. You'll understand spirit math. 1 + 1 = 3. If you're in the physical world, you'll be like, oh, this is retarded. This don't make sense. Yet your father is a whole nother person. 1. Your mom is a whole nother person. 2. You is a whole nother person. It took those 1 + 2 to make you as a 3. You know what I'm saying? So spiritually, we're doing something like that mathematically to create the physical representations for 1 + 1 to be 2. So in the physical world, 1 + 1 is 2 based off objects. For that to be in a spiritual world, 1 + 1 = 3. 2 different objects coming together produces another object. The joining of two energies create another. It ain't the joining of 2 energies and it's just smearing. No, it's the joining of 2 energies and it creates another energy. So this how we even got the existence of father, mother, son. brain, heart, dick, pussy. Bitch, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Now, you can get lost in mathematical shit like that all you want, and I just broke down the understanding. Bitch, I'm not saying 1 + 1 = 3 physically. I said with objects, 1 + 1 = 2. Spiritually, for that to be 1 + 1 = 3. It took two things to come together to make that new thing. So you can see that play out on a smaller scale when you're in a heavy percentage scale living backwards in reality, right? It could be two motherfucking lighters, but one lighter took multiple things and to make that one thing and things of that nature. So you have to understand the spiritual concept of shit. It's subjective, then objective, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Not objective, then subjective, how y'all be trying to get lost in and shit like that. So keep that in mind. So this help y'all not get lost. Now, so think about it like this. Like I said, you're not able. Let's get back to it. I don't even want to turn my glasses off. I ain't done. Now look, check this out, right? Pardon me. Let me roll up another one so I can start adding people right after this. So think about it like this. If you're not able to wake up from a situation of experiencing death, pain yet, just to wake up to another day, the same thing, and don't stop, and you can't be born again because you're stuck in a limbo, and you just need to know that Sheol, right? Organ implosion. Now, what you do inside is what motivates you, pardon me, to do things on the outside, externally, and not just physically, and not just physical. So also what you emanate, that mental state as an atmosphere, that's what your spirit jump inside of, your individual spirit, which is a soul, your solo spirit, your space. You jump inside of that mind frame and things of that nature. And for the most part, that's your creation. So always remember that. What you do inside is what motivates you to do things externally. And this is how us creating the world. We need to be doing that more relatable than unrelatable. And that can only be agreeable to 9 tribes up. And not just physical. You also emanate that mental state, and that's your micro atmosphere, and your spirit jumps in because it's your creation, no one else's, and this becomes your maker. It becomes your mess that you can't dump on no one else no more, because and it's your dreams also that you're inside of as a spirit, aka a place of no return and where you can't find death. So if you can't deal with yourself because you're retarded internally, or if you're on the end of the type of person who have to rationalize a lot of evil doing, then Hellel is the afterlife for you. Because this is what you have created for yourself with no help but your own lostness. And whatever you had to do when you was alive, I'm pretty sure you needed outside assistance to get it done. So you even got help to dig a more deeper grave for yourself and things of that nature. Because you got other people's thoughts and feelings and their spiritual creativity to get it done. That's even a bigger cloud that you motivated for yourself. Because no matter, everybody's still gonna meet their own maker, but everybody is creating that space that they're in, sharing it as a group of spirits, fulfilling that noumenal, and then create that quantum field amongst each other and shit like that. So everybody go there on their own time. Y'all ain't going there to see each other though. Y'all going to that piece of the sun. Y'all going to your piece of that big sun y'all made for yourselves. That ain't got nothing to do with the holy and Hellel. Y'all all took a piece of Hellel, plucked from this world, took y'all own Hellel, because you wouldn't even have that thought unless you was here and turned 18. And then for the most part, all y'all worked together as a team when y'all was alive to create that shit that ain't got nothing to do with reality and shit like that. Then y'all go all die, y'all all go to your own piece of that. Your own mind, dream. Y'all all be stuck in one world though, that other spirits will be able to see that's alive as a thought form, or spirits that's dead that got grace run away from. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. And spirits like me can possibly save if they still in a little pocket that got grace. So it'd be a thought and a feeling I still care about, that I know how to do better than those spirits that's lost in that. And if I want to go implode that world and teach them it ain't what we do, it's how we do it, and then they could be on their way out, because I've been there and done that before the world became actual physical. So it wasn't a good or bad thing when these things was done. Didn't manifest as a mistake yet, as multiple experiences as condensing yet. You see what I'm saying? Because once upon a time when spirits did that, the physical world that wasn't even physical in our world was where the spirits was at. They buried themselves. Let's say we in the world before it become physical. It's still playing out physical, but you amongst us now. And you leave the Holy Council war grounds. You don't want to be a warrior for God no more. You want to be in your own little stuff. You want your own little purity race or something like that. You ain't trying to participate with creating a land for everybody, and everybody got their own stations, right? And then you go off and and to another little land. Oh shit, I had another point too. And then for the most part, what you do is you create a pocket, because first the rainbow, the beauty path, you separate from it, and all your colors become one. So you become your own darkness, but the only thing that you think you bright inside of. Hold on, let me not get off point either. And you leave the Holy Council. No, before that. Before the world became actual physical. So, okay, yeah, going back into the world before it was physical, right? Now, when you do that, let's say you're not giving birth, life, death, aka just emanating a dream, living it out, and it's so relatable that when it's in its expiration date, God keep it because it's an organ and it become the land. And as a spirit, you say, I'm back. But your spirit expanded and contracted in a greater. So you create greater minds and greater bodies, and you're getting closer and closer, creating something for nothing. God, right? Now, this world is just like this, but it ain't physical the way y'all in this slow world yet. The physical world ain't here yet, but it's physical to us. So the first physical is our natures that we get stuck in, but we're doing it for God because we're harnessing that nature. And then once it reaches expiration date, the true Hallel, it could be a sun, and then we can leave it and go create another one. And then that's a added organ to God. The mental condensing, we creating a team, all of our thoughts and feelings, and that makes it a physical. And then boom, we expand that. So we're creating another layer around it, a lesser, denser layer. And this is how we're having a mind, and y'all dick and pussy in the first place. But this is how we're doing for inside of God and things of that nature, right? And let's say you do organ implosion and things, and you're not actually doing that. Oh shit, let me not miss my point for that too. Oh, okay, yeah. Now, when you go in your own pocket, and let's say you have other people to even help you that with your own pocket, you still doing this process. You're getting ready to create a comparing and contrasting of what's negative and separate now, and not doing it for God and what God don't want. All y'all will go in your own little pocket, and when that reaches expiration date, as spirits, you don't expand and create a new form with us. You get stuck underneath in that form, and that form end up being a ground we're walking on. Now, remember, we ain't physical yet, but in the spiritual world, we got forms of physicality. That would be the most form of physicality, a rooted nature that was too rooted, too many thoughts and feelings that condense, and the spirits that was the practitioner of that, they're stuck in that form, in that pocket of reality. And then it's an organ that God don't want. So we all start to just expand, and you become smaller and smaller and smaller until you be inside of that place that it gets shitted out. Because you're getting more distant and vague and more from forms that we're creating. That is physical to us, but we're planning it out like it's less dense. You're in a reverse version of it. Your less dense version is you're inside of it like it's heavy. And so you're getting ready to be like something that just sink or something like that. As we become a form, you're just something that we can walk on, and you a spirit that can't get out of that. Now that's the first hells. Now this is what y'all doing now, trying to live forever or come up with y'all mind states, and you get stuck in a hell. Then you end up being a spirit that did something, and whatever you built, the spirits that can say I'm back, it is just use and abuse that. Maybe spit on it, maybe walk on it, and things of that nature, and you actually be inside of it. Let's say if you a spirit that did that to another spirit, but they died for a good cause. They're not in that statue. You know what I'm saying? And let's say you have a legacy of people that's painting it, spitting on it and stuff like that. Y'all get ready to go in hell and actually be in something. You could be caught in a word. You could be caught in that area. You could be haunted by all that other shit. Ain't what we do, is how we do it. You know what I'm saying? When you doing shit off in your own mind for your own purposes that ain't had nothing to do with being relatable, you meet your own energy in your own mind to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? You start dealing with that and shit. You have a whole lot of time to think. You be like in a jail. You start thinking about all your actions, right? So in that dream, you'll have these type of thoughts. Let me put myself in this person's shoes. And if I was the statue and my people got rid of this person in a negative way, and let me see if how I would think if I was this person. Then you have a dream of being in the statue. You have dreams of being stuck, having sleep paralysis. But all of that, you dead though. Because the thoughts you have now when you're still alive, you could go deep and you'll be like, let me get out of that thought. Why is I thinking that deep about something that's stupid or whatever the case may be? You can't do that in your dream. You can't find death to be born again, or the smaller version of it to wake up because you're still alive. You can't do that. So your version of waking up, giving birth, and your version of dying or whatever like that is all in your head. It just so happens you lost in your head. You lost in your mind. It just so happened. You know what I'm saying? It's all in your head. You're gonna be like, damn, did I die yesterday? Did I get killed? Yesterday you might stop losing consciousness on what yesterday and tomorrow is. It might just start being a long running thing for you and shit like this. Man, you dying to die again. You'll be living to not be able to be born again. Like you don't know what to do. You just stuck. Fucking stuck. Fucking stuck. You know what I'm saying? And would somebody fall in that space and could give birth to you again? And at that time, it'd probably just be a pet grass-fed, pet water, pregnant gerbil or something like that. As you said, you can pick one of them life forms and come back in, or bacteria, something still in that stage where it could go through a bunch of birth-like deaths, metaphysical, but in the physical again, but spiritually unaware too, like at a certain level, so you can build yourself back up in awareness and stimuli, tension spans, and lifespan concepts again. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, yeah, people get real. But yeah, we can start adding people in this motherfucker. If anybody got any questions, like, hey, am I on my way to hell because of this situation, or I had this kind of dream, or I'm on my way to heaven? So what is heaven? Replace heaven with being able to come back here and you in a world that's more relatable to the natures that you was crafting up, regardless of what your previous life may have experienced. You may have to fight fire with fire with negativity, but you died for good causes, right? You are remembered, and other people would think after you and want to anchor more of that energy in the world other than whatever took you out. And therefore, you got grace. You're going to be able to say, I'm back. Even if you're unaware based upon whatever language is going on at that time or whatever like that, you're still going to be acting out the same energies, because the spirit create energy, just have a hard time destroying it. Not energy can't be created nor destroyed. No, that's stupid. The spirit just have the ability. The spirit is always the spirit. So the spirit always know how to do what it's doing, regardless of what it's in as a bias and acting it out. You know what I'm saying? That person was always a basketball player in some type of way. Even if they lived in a lifetime, it wasn't basketball. You know what I'm saying? So they always has that ability to build that mind, that bend in and become that type of organ that know how to move in that type of way, that whatever life you go into and whatever corporation or sport or whatever we create around it, you're physically and mentally aware more than other individuals. You have comprehension in that spiritual space beyond the physical current circumstance you're in at the moment. This is the only place we're able to explain that. You know what I'm saying? You can't just be somewhere just because when you don't think like this, you can have good gifts and talents, but then you got time to be distracted in an idle mind and a devil's playground to come up with, to justify it for ego purposes. And then you might blame the white man God. Hey, well, this God gave me this gift and ain't give it to you. And then now you ain't in no spiritual practice and you here pushing out bad things in the world. Down to people without thinking you're down to people, being in the ego without thinking you're being in the ego, and justifying your thing that you have that ain't really why you got it. And then whatever you thought you had, God is get ready to take it away from you in some type of way and make you realize whatever you're accumulating from it is blinding you from the fact of how you had that talent to accumulate that in the first place. And that's how God gets you, sit you on your ass. God sit you on your ass real quick. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, when y'all be thinking y'all somebody and y'all fucking human brains. Shit, a beaver thought like that one day. I don't know why y'all be thinking y'all special. All right, I'm about to add you. I don't know why y'all be thinking y'all special in this motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Y'all better get with God. Get the Great Spirit. Not no God title in these religions and things of that nature. And the Great Spirit, when you hear my explanation, I know y'all can get with that. Y'all know it ain't got nothing to do with them titles or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? You can honor anything. Honor something that's more relatable in the nature. You got enough grace. You ain't got to know it all. It's to start there. I'm fucking with you already. You know what I'm saying? Those should just start there. Honor something. Honor something, bitch. You gotta have some honor qualities. What's going down?
LOL, this background funny as hell. But first of all, before you get to Thursday, I did just want to tap in with you just so you could see me. And then also I wanted to ask, when you get your started on Thursday, you know what I'm talking about. I definitely want to be involved in that. How do we make sure we access that? I mean, I'm got you on Patreon. I'll make sure I tune in on YouTube, but I just wanted to double check, just make sure I don't miss anything.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put all that up on Wednesday. Matter of fact, tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow I'm gonna run everything down and get everybody, or set up something for everybody can know how to get the link, or however the case may be, or however I do it, whether it be like a live stream and then but the link set it on private, or however I come up with doing it. I was going to like come up with all that tomorrow and shit like that. Just set it up for Thursday.
And these psyops be weird, bro. But I feel like basically when you talk about the season transitions, I'm like, man, I'll be seeing it now. I feel like I was feeling it back when I was younger, but now I'll be seeing it because I'm kind of like looking at it from like an observer standpoint. And I'm like, oh shoot, like I could feel it when it's Like before summer come, I already know how people minds about to start moving, and then you see the season transition, and then I just feel like being me, I just be being myself, and I feel like that's what people is considering is good. It's not like I'm trying to be good. I'm just being myself, and then
And even being aware of it from that aspect. Now you have a better way to see it even from astrology. If we're using it from astrology, because now you deeply know what specific signs going to react a certain way by knowing the true nature of it. And then that's what makes astrology real now, not this this way I've been plagiarized and shit.
100%. Because more recently, at first when I watch your videos, I was on some. Let me just watch Dolo because I fuck with Dolo. But then when you had the astrology page, I just avoided it. I still followed it, but I avoided it because I'm like, I don't really understand what he's talking about. But now I'll be using the astrology, and that don't be game. Like it's a whole tool. It's a whole tool.
Yeah.
I just wrote shit down so I could remember what I say, so I don't, what I'm saying, use the time. And then this is a little bit off topic, but I remember your last stream, you was talking about the relationship stuff. And I feel like the number one, like let's say somebody trying to get into a relationship. I feel like the number one thing is to not think about a relationship. Like it literally be opposite. Like as soon as you get out of that realm of like, oh, I'm trying to do this, or I'm not trying to do this. As soon as you just be on your own natural path, that's when the biddies be like, oh, he
Right.
And it be the right ones too, not the wrong ones, because you trying to make a brain pattern or some type of thing to get a certain shorty. You just gonna be wasting your time, because yeah, you might get them, but you just did all of these hoops. You ran through the hoops, did a whole backflip to get to, like how you be saying, to get to that shorty, just so you gotta maintain that to stay with that shorty. Like that ain't even it.
Right. It's just relations. I like to make it simple. Look, people should even look at how they make friends with the same gender. So how you go get your homeboys and stuff like that. Think about what you're doing. Now, when you're going to get a female, it's because you want some pussy, right? But think about, all right, set aside sex. Think about, why do you got homeboys and shit like that? It's because you doing something and eventually you want assistance with it. If you making music, you're going to need an engineer. You're going to need a producer. If you just rap or sing and you can't do it. If you a construction worker, you're going to need help putting the things together. If y'all building people houses, if y'all going to cut grass, however the case may be. So it's when we on a purpose, it don't matter the gender. This is how we develop relations. Now, you want the other gender because you want sex, right? Or someone to help you out. So when you on your purpose, that's the same way how it's easy, where we don't have to jump into this critical thinking about relationships because we're lost in white man tactics and stuff like that. If we all just on our purpose, like you said, or whatever case may be, you gonna need assistance for your purpose. And there's only two genders in the world. So you're gonna want the opposite one for sex, and then you're gonna want the same one to help you build. So the end. And when we understand it like that, relationships wouldn't even be a problem in the first place, because we start now. We need to know that these things we're calling relationship issues ain't coming from relationships itself. It's coming from the lifestyles we're living and cultures we're mixed up in and stuff like that.
Now, I just do want to ask a question about like native a little bit, because like I remember one time, like I think some old head told me like how and this is way after the natives, maybe like in the 80s, 90s or something, that women would like drop, but like, now this is way before, maybe 50s, but they would drop like a handkerchief, so then you pick it up, and that was their way of telltale, like of like, they want to F with you. And I know a lot of guys feel like, oh, they gotta be the initiator to let something develop. But I always felt like a woman is gonna let you know if she fuck with you or not, like straight off the bat. She ain't like, she gonna do something to let you know. You don't have to like press the whole issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There, like, people don't got no culture and shit. That's kind of like how the live stream I made last time. It's like a plagiarized version of marriage and all this type of stuff. And I'm trying to tell people, females is always open to be taken. So that's even back in the time, like even how tribes used to do it, how my people used to do it, and things of that nature too. Raise a virgin up, or whatever the case. And it was a lot of ceremony and practices. Like a lot of the stuff that we do is the stuff that y'all think is like games, like duck, duck, goose, or hide and go get it and stuff like that, leaving a feather or whatever. That's how the women used to pick, or certain tribes, or some other tribes you do other type of stuff and shit like that. But that's one of the main ones my people used to do and shit like that. What you just said and shit. And for the most part, it's just. But a man have to be in a position where he getting raised up. So he's getting ready to be part of a war party, or he getting ready to be a medicine man, or he a chief, getting ready to make more bands, or he's raised up as a son. So you're doing a whole bunch of shit and you got notoriety. It ain't you traveling somewhere else. It's what you did, where we at, and can you plant that corn, bean, and squash better? It goes beyond corn, bean, corn, and squash. I just use that as an example, but it's a whole bunch of shit we do for us to get feathers and all kind of other shit that. These are the qualities that he has to have for her and for that little ceremony that you're talking about, for that to even take place. And then it's based on a person not even having anything else to choose from, because all this, what we're doing is a purpose anyway. Without us, we won't be able to have no trading. We won't be able to make no furs. We won't be able to have no deer coats or whatever the case may be. So that's like leaving a marriage and a tribe is like leaving a responsibility and a duty of the land. So without those qualities there, y'all left to be distracted with other reasons to come together. And when twatmatized, the money or enough watching TV wear off and Walt Disney commercials is no longer cared about, y'all start to realize that y'all ain't really liked each other like that. You know what I'm saying? So y'all, it's like everybody in white man culture, how white man want to live.
Right, because I say to the dudes that's chasing right now, it's like, bro, you chasing, but you won't see these people that be with they person. And then they constantly gotta be doing something to maintain that. It's like, why don't you just be yourself, and then that will be yourself. And if they with you, they with you. If they not, they not. Like, it's that simple.
Right. That takes us right to the married people and religious men. The married, not married people, married men and religious men. Because when it comes to a woman, they come up with this weird thing, and they don't understand that hypergamy, that's all fake. With really a woman deep down inside, her ego get boosted. How far another man willing to go that's not the man she married or the man that she with is willing to take her. And if she like him, she would go. And then she'll play stupid. She'll create a whole bunch of scenarios like, well, I don't know what happened or something like that, because women are open to be taken or something. And when a man is in a religion or married, he's in some weird white man concept where he don't think this is even right. You're not even supposed to put a female in that situation in the first place. Don't create a whole world where you're demonizing females for that. That's nature.
Right.
And back in the day, you wouldn't even be able to take somebody, bitch, if I killed more deers than you. You wouldn't even be able to take. And then if she part of my tribe and it's up to her to make all the deer coats and shit like that, then for the most part, what we got going on, you won't even be able to infiltrate. The end. Relationship problem solved. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, and then I guess the last question I'm gonna ask you for let you do your thing is, I see you got the streams and you put in different chiefs and different arrangements. So I mean, like, how you even tapping into that? Like is that just something you creatively tapping into, or do you feel like each chief from each I guess tribe or whatever is like coming through you? Because I know you're the last one. You basically you're the only one on the internet from what I see. I know you be saying there's other natives on the internet, but I don't even be seeing them. I ain't gonna cap. I don't even be seeing them.
Right, they all in real life and shit. Like a lot of them, like it's a lot of them that's into what I'm into, but just not the online. This online thing is dangerous and stuff like that. But in a nutshell, it's just keeping the Indian spirit alive and shit like that. So when I see certain shifts, I'm always ahead of the game. So when I see everybody get ready to go on this shift, I always separate myself and make sure I'm keeping up my people, whatever the case may be. So therefore, people don't get me mistaken with nothing that's synthetic in the world, but also everybody get put on the real game because I'm a scholar also. So it's just the time we in. Plus, Monito back. You know what I'm saying? So when that's back and shit, it ain't nothing that we can really hide from anyway. People going to be awakened to something, and they're going to need someone to explain what they are experiencing anyway. But we're going through a shift.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Dolo, Uriel. You already know.
Real shit. Shout the real shit. And that's also to help everybody understand the true fathers and mothers of this land too. So you're given honor too, you know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be right if I'm not a good representation of that. And here's the thing, it don't matter what ethnicity you are, right? If I was in Asia, right, I'm not gonna be kicking what I'm kicking in Asia. I'm gonna learn Asians. I'm gonna be like, hey, who y'all? And I'm gonna figure out how whatever I do could bring gifts. My spiritual system as a mental fruit or something physically, no matter which one, and see how it could be relatable as possible in Asia, how it could blend, and how I'm still giving honor to where I'm at. So even if it's a certain river that the city I live in, who was the forefather, who was the ancestor, and did they name the river based upon how it's flowing, or did they name it based upon what they did internally, outwardly to others in some way, shape, or form? And then I want to know that, and that's the name I'm not going to abuse. I'm gonna honor that shit. I'm not gonna make sure I change the name. If I mess up the prayer, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm gonna be in the spirit of, hey, I might not know how to say the name, so I'm not gonna say it, but I'm gonna dance with them, or just leave it alone. Never disrespect what was already there for the carvings to be what it is, for the fruit, that type of fruit to be off the tree, for them type of animals to be there, and them type of damn phenotype, skin type, and tongue humans to be there. Why would I go over there disrespecting that? You know what I'm saying? That's not in other ethnicities' natures. Like everybody, for real. You know what I'm saying? What's going down? Oh, you're on mute. You gotta unmute.
Oh, my bad, bro. Hey, what's up?
What's going down?
Hey, my bad. All right, so I had like just two questions. It was more so like questions like all right, I'm gonna just ask it. So if you think like fourth dimensionally, like not primarily, but like let's just say like when you go outside, right?
Right.
Um, how do you specifically, how do you specifically handle that when you go outside? You know, and I understand that okay, that's just fourth dimensionally. You got like nine, right? So you're not gonna get lost in that. You're gonna stay unbiased,
Right.
you know. But like for example, like which for you, all right, let me get my thoughts together. To do what you're doing right now, like in the third dimension, right?
Right.
Before you do what you're doing, something will block you. Not something, we know what that is, right? It's obvious. All
Right.
right, but not to get too lost in the mind, right? Before you do what you're doing, there's something na- that blocks you from doing that. You get what I'm saying?
Doing what?
And hold on, let me take these earphones off. But yeah, all right. So let's say if you want to make a topic of a video, right?
Right.
Now, fourth dimensionally, since you're in the third dimension, you thinking about everything. It's like 100 different scenarios that play out before you even launch this video. You already thinking about everything. You get what I'm saying? Um,
Well,
like,
nah, but before I go live, it'd be something I already experienced. Like a lot of my live streams be about shit. Like it's a lot of live streams I could make about thoughts I had last year, eons ago, and stuff like that. It just whatever the time of the day and what shift we going through, I finalize. Oh, okay, I'm about to talk about this, and this is finalized. But it ain't.
oh,
I
okay,
don't go through a thought process.
yeah, bro, yeah. I just wanted to ask you that, bro, because I really admire how you literally just you operate on a high capacity, and you still able to be a humanitarian. Like, really, that's what you is, bro. So I be admiring that. I be like, wow, bro. Like, wow. Like, that's all I came on here to ask you, bro.
Oh, real shit.
But this shit is everything you say is real, bro. Everything you say is real. Um, and yeah, I don't even know what else to say, bro. Everything you say is real. And I know why you be putting your titles like that. It's like, man, but bro,
Oh,
yeah, I appreciate your content.
real shit.
I've been on here a few times, bro. But yeah. But sometimes, bro, I be like in a space where I be unbiased, right? Like I'll be unbiased not to have all of these different thoughts in my head.
Right.
And I'm not talking about thoughts I have, just about shit that's in the world. And I know that's all noise. That's not my thoughts. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, let me so humans, what they'll do is they'll play a sport, they'll work out, they'll listen to your videos. You get what I'm saying? But
Yeah, because they trying to. It really boils
they're
down to
trying to
trying to
cut
get out.
that noise off.
Yeah,
That's what they're
trying to get
trying to
out the
do.
thought.
You get what I'm saying? But like,
Trying to,
all right. So for example, um, I'm saying, all right, I know even that thing you use to cut it off is noise, right? So what happened when you get to that level? Like, you get what I'm saying?
well, it really don't have anything to do with anything at all. It's
Uh-huh.
like the noises and the natures is based off the things we have to do it or the things we don't have to do it. So for an
Yeah,
example, let's say if it's some noise, or even if I'm dealing with a homeboy that I don't even want to deal with because he retarded, he keep going to jail or whatever the case may be, right? That'd be the physical representation of that noise. So since
yeah,
I don't have nothing to do with it, but it keep presenting itself, now it's playing out as a blockage because I'm not even adding on to it for it to keep attaching itself, but it need me for something. Then so it's not my noise, so it's easier for me to detach, but yet I will have to fight fire with fire, but I'm doing it for God. But then you have the noise of a person created their own noise. So even though they can make the shit look like it's gold or whatever the case may be, it's still only
yeah,
floating around them because it's their noise. They put that.
yeah, yeah. I get
So it's like
everything you're
trying to
saying,
shut off something
100%.
that a person put out. So it's either we're
It's either
the
you admit it
practitioner
or
of it
you
or
like
not.
receiving.
Yeah, you're
You
the
get what I'm saying?
practitioner of it or not.
Or you gotta be unbiased. So now for me, for example, what happened if you so cold with it that you can be turned into your own world for long periods of time, to where as though, all right, you see what's going on in the world, but you done built up your own shit. You get what I'm saying? To where as though you still operate in the world, obviously you taking care of what you need to take care of, but you are literally not phased by no form of intellectual property or any of that. And it's
Look
not
at it
depression
like
either.
this.
You're
Look at it
still
like
doing
this.
everything you're doing in the world. You still eating 4 or 5, 3, 4 times a day. It's not depression. But I'm saying, or it's not isolation either. It don't even feel like that. But I'm just trying to say, bruh, what am I trying to say, bro? I'm just trying to ask you how you
It's like
process that
I know what
shit.
you're trying to say. It's simple. This is what you're trying to say. For an example, it's like this: either we're the practitioner or something or not. So the energy behind what we're doing, regardless of what we push out, is what matters. Is what we take with us.
Yep.
So look at it like this: a suitcase, right? And let's say you work for you don't work for a company, but let's say you live somewhere where it's a suitcase and someone wants you to move the suitcase. Now, the energy behind what you're getting ready to what motivate you to move the suitcase is the suitcase yours or not? Now, if the suitcase yours, that come with a whole nother internal motivation. If the suitcase not yours, that come with a whole nother motivation. So that brings us into the seed of we can either die for good reasons or die for dumb reasons, make money for good reasons or make money for dumb reasons. What motivates us inside is what happens outwardly is we pushing things good in the world. So if it's our own shit, our own suitcase and things of that nature, that will be that noise and shit that we got to deal with because it's our suitcase. If someone wants us to move the suitcase and it's not even ours, okay, now we got an issue. We got an argument because it could be like, why do I got to move the suitcase? It ain't mine. And if it could be more relatable for me to move the suitcase to stop anything else from negative, okay, then that's me being a good spirit. And even if I'm doing something negative, God to see that and God to give me grace in some type of way, shape, or form. So it's either we dealing with our own shit or we doing it, dumping it on others.
Yeah, yep, yep. And then let's go less dense, like how people like us would think. Replace that suitcase with thoughts. You get what I'm saying? And
Right.
then from there, you would say like the fourth dimension or whatever like that. But that's after that's structured into a pattern or a program. You get what I'm saying? But all I'm saying is
It's like if the suitcase is yours and it's a thought, that's
yeah.
hell. If the suitcase ain't yours, that's you
See, my
doing
my
spirit
whole
expansion.
fourth dimension is based off of, if it's not registered, it's like, if I imagine if you owned the grocery store. And if you took that product out that grocery store and scanned it out of another grocery store, it's not going to scan. So how my shit is so cold where if it's someone else's shit, it will not scan in my shit, no matter how powerful it is.
But where did both of the grocery stores get the thing we buying from?
That's what I'm saying. That's where my mind go at. It go to the root all the time. So
So you could have you could take an item to another grocery store and it won't scan, but it's still stealing in some type of way
oh,
because
no,
it's
no,
like
no, no. I'm not talking about stealing. I'm sorry. I'm just talking about if something is not registered, it won't apply. And It was just an example of if something not registered, it won't apply to that other place. You get what I'm saying? And that was just an example of if
But see,
someone have
that's a
another
bias.
form of intellectual property or
That'd be the
anything.
bias though. The equilibrium is it don't matter where
Mhm.
you at. You at a grocery store. You could be at a different place and they don't got a McDonald's. But if you hungry and you like fast food, you still in the spiritual world of people who like fast food. You're just in your own concept of it and on your own understanding. So McDonald's might not register at Burger King, but both parties is in that world that meeting their own maker, the
Yeah.
restaurant God.
I'm gonna just give a more literal example. If someone have a belief system or intellectual property or buy or any type of, even don't even matter if it's a fucking bird chirping at a certain time every day. It don't even have to have a name. If that shit happens at a certain pattern that is not aligned with my shit, I will not register it. You get it?
Well, let me ask you a question then. Well, if I have a God that believe killing is right, and you believe in something that's killing is wrong, if I kill, do that make my God right, and do that make killing right, or
And
do
I
or
apologize. I'm about to answer this. I swear to God, I don't like answering stuff like this. I wouldn't even register that God. And then I already know what comes with that. It comes with manipulating things around to pretty much make me believe that that God is real.
but my point is this a bias in general? We wouldn't even need none of that to know that killing is wrong. So what we get ready to
Yeah,
come up in our mind in the fourth dimension is a concept that don't got nothing to do with reality. Because in
yeah.
reality, we know killing is wrong in general. Whether we at the grocery store, whether we took one can to another grocery store,
Oh,
we know stealing or killing is wrong no matter what grocery store we at, whether register or
oh
not.
yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. I get that moral compass. And I'm not. I didn't. I wasn't talking about stealing, and I wasn't talking about violence or any of that. I was
No, the
basically
reason
just.
why I asked you that because this could lead into like a small seed that we explaining a belief. So if you got a certain
Mhm.
belief that's not like somebody else's belief, it's almost like you at a grocery store and their belief is another grocery store. So whatever you believe is items and it don't register at somebody else's grocery store. So you don't got to experience it. But what I'm saying is these is biases, just two different grocery stores. Y'all both still at grocery stores. And if grocery store was a hell, then it's just one person in one hell and another person in another hell, and one person trying to
Mhm.
make their hell better than another hell. Now, if a grocery store is a heaven, that's another thing. But then, if it was a heaven, both grocery stores would be in business together in some way.
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
apologize for
it
giving
both
that. That
it
grocery
both
store
got something to
example
do
was a
with
bad
having food on the
example.
shelf. Oh my bad. Go ahead.
The grocery store example was a bad example. I apologize, bro. I should have gave a better example. I was more so saying if something don't register somewhere else is not going to be recognizable, and anything that's not recognizable in the third dimension, um, anything that's not recognizable, it would be hard to pretty much make you realize it in the fourth dimension, bro. That's why bro, bro,
That's
I
why
be
we supposed
just
That's why we should understand these things as a simultaneous thing, not like
yeah,
one or the other. Like if we're in fifth dimension or fourth dimension, we needed the fourth dimension for it to be condensed and even be the third dimension. And all of these things are simultaneous. So we're supposed to treat all these mechanisms
yeah,
right. So we don't create our own world where we think in our mind fourth dimension what's going on in the third dimension, and it don't have anything to do with the actual fourth dimension and how it manifests in the third dimension to be in good relations. Then we become unrelatable in our own
no.
understanding.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. But I'm saying me specifically, I don't get unbalanced or anything. I still do the day-to-day routine shit. I'm just saying fourth dimensionally, I see how everything is structured. And I still don't let that noise interfere with my internal realm. That grocery store example was just a bad example, bro. I apologize about that.
Hey, you
You
gotta
get what I'm
apologize about
saying?
that. I mean, we all gotta. You ain't right or wrong about whatever you break it down. It's
Yeah.
just we just having a good conversation. It's basically just predicated on is we responsible for some or not. But it's always gonna be noise. It's always gonna be thoughts. You always gonna be in the world to become
Mm-hmm.
18 and stuff like that. So it's either we take responsible for what we brought in the world, or we ain't responsible for what we are experiencing in the world, whether negative or positive. And then that's how we all start there with our own bias and equilibriums and stuff like that. So
Yep.
the noise is gonna hunt us, if it's a noise we're responsible for because it's our creation. And then the noise don't have to haunt us if it's negative, if we're not responsible for it, because that's how the Great Spirit look at it and see you have grace and you're not the practitioner of whatever negative is happening to you.
Yeah.
And even
And
positive, not they always bring up negative shit, but you know, positive shit too.
yeah, because I always talk about positive shit, but and more so, I'm more so talking about like things that's less dense, like fourth dimension. You get what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what's that. Because I already know.
We don't have to worry if we're in response. Like if we have thoughts and we kept our thoughts to ourselves, we ain't got to worry about it anyway. But if it's thoughts we actually brought in the world and shit like that, we can come up with all the thoughts and feelings we want. It's just us lost in our own thoughts. And for us to be in that position in the first place, it's because we know we did wrong.
Yeah. Yep. And then yeah, it's a perfect example of this is like a TV, where it's only one direction. Like it's only one person on the other side of the TV, and when that shit is emitting, you only sit there and listen and receive. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's how the human experience is. But I'm more like
Well,
closed off.
not really. We have both sides, masculine and
Now
feminine.
we got both sides. But
We
I'm saying
emanate and receive. The
I'm
things we
saying how
actually
they want the
receive in is the
world to
things we
go,
emanated first.
the direction they want the world to go. They wanted them to just receive that information, especially like from fourth dimensionally. As humans in the third dimension, they want everybody to just receive and get programmed. So
Right.
that's what what I explained earlier was a way to kind of like shut that off completely. But I didn't want to really explain that in detail. That's why I gave a little bit of examples like that, bro. But I just wanted to see how because I know people that think like, bro, people that think like, man, we could sit back and see a whole fucking.
Well,
Oh my
I
god.
don't know you personally. I wouldn't say you think like me, but I get what you're trying to say though.
All right, people that think like yourself, you can see how somebody talk, the tone, and everything, and see how their whole mind even is. You get what I'm saying?
Not really. You can't really see nobody's whole mind, but
Well, the mind is not physical.
there's pieces that's being plucked for us to
Mhm.
develop a mind state that we're getting ready to
Yeah,
use as a bias to express something through. Now, but a
yeah,
person's spiritual travels is how they're pulling the thing together in the first place before it's presented.
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. And when I say mind, I meant remember, mind is not physical. So I'm saying that structured mentality that they're in, I can see that in how they formulated and how they engineered that shit from scratch, and who owns that intellectual property. So when I see that, I fucking shut off because I know, okay, I'm not trying to infringe on nobody's intellectual property, and then from there I fucking back off. And this keep me from participating in the world, and then it shut off a lot of experiences, but then I never go to nothing. I have control over my whole life.
Right. Yeah, that's
But
the
if
best
I
direction to go.
participate like you, I know that I could make a change in this world, but I just don't. You get it?
Was that the last? You said, well,
That's
not that
yeah,
last
bro.
part.
That's it. That's pretty much that. And I just admire your shit, and just keep going, bro. Cause it's people out like it's people that watch you that know how the world works, not believe.
Real shit. Yep. Well, yeah. Shout out, homeboy. Yep. Well, yeah. It get deep. It get deep in the out here and shit like that when it comes to spiritually traveling and knowing the concepts and knowing how you got here and knowing because this is just a platform and shit. So it's just a mechanism. So what we think it's two sides of something is really not. What you think is one side and what you might think is bad or good might be the heavier or the less dense side, but you're really just in between that as a mechanism, the less dense becoming the heavier dense. And being able, it ain't what we do, is how we do that. So we want to make sure every time we give a birth, life, death, less dense becoming heavier dense is something that's more relatable that could be left here for God. Anytime we jump into a situation of less dense and heavier dense and it's unrelatable and things of that nature, then it become a bunch of unfiltered structures and a bunch of miscellaneous ways of thought forms to be stuck in, and that be a mind that came from a mind, so any spirit of that practitioner is stuck in that pocket too, and things of that nature. And then for the most part, this takes for a spirit to have to develop the ability to spark their own juice again without the external validation or without the external representation and shit. Oh shit! I don't know what's wrong with the camera. The LA person. But yeah, so for the most part, in a nutshell, that's Hillel. Yihilel is when you start to emanate your own imagination and become the brightest thing in it. And for the most part, Sheol is when you see the night side of it, aka that's the only reflection, that's the only thing you're able to see. You got your own movie screen and shit like that. And a lot of things, it may be a movie you don't even like, you get killed at the end and shit like that. Is your movie. You watching it though, you in a movie theater, like, man, what the fuck is you? Then you have to watch part 2. Then you gotta watch part 3, you gotta watch part 4. No, I say you gotta watch part 5, Mission Impossible, Jason Bourne. You gotta watch all kind of shit and things of that nature. Then for the most part, you're gonna get tired of these movies. You're gonna like, I want to watch a whole new movie or something like that. And you can't. You in your own mess. No, say you in your own mess hall in some way, shape, or form. You know what I'm saying? So, and we don't have to die to experience that to know that's true, because goddamn it, we can still do that while you're alive. You know what I'm saying? You could be a thief and you no longer want to be a thief. And no matter how much you're doing different things spiritually in a different space, developing a different mind, it playing out as different actions. You may have did so much shit when you was in that other space, other mind, acting out those actions, and then people around you still don't believe you not a thief. And then now you like still being hit and impactful. You like, damn, I'm trying to change or whatever the case may be. Then you might relapse and be like, I'm gonna be a thief again. You all kind of shit and shit. You in hell right now. You're in some type of hell already in your mind already. You know what I'm saying? You're going to develop all kind of coping mechanisms. You got to start moving your elbow different. It go deep. You got to move your left collarbone and right elbow a little different than you used to. And you just say, you just pop up on people you always knew, how you always did and stuff. But since that energy there, you trying to change a certain facial expressions got to be different and shit like that. Now, like you get a whole little stress spiritual world on your shoulders that people don't even know that's there, that you can't wait to get to the crib and be like, damn, shit, I got to do this tomorrow. I said, real shit, I got to put on this face, Mal. Tomorrow too. Yeah, there's shit. You already experienced not being free. You know what I'm saying? You already experiencing some form of that goddamn shit in some magnitude. You know what I'm saying? So it gets deep. I was like, but somebody else click the link. We have one more person. I'm saying it's going down.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So, I want to ask you, where did this conqueror mindset come from? The colonialism, imperialism, the domination of other human beings. Where did that come from?
That's part like fighting over resources and the necessity of the need, and then a comfortable zone. So there, beyond colonizing, but I mean, my bad, but beyond colonizing, it could be harmless states that humans may have started in, that a few negative things may have played out, just not on an extreme level, but the comfortability that came from it allowed the mind to be in a idle place and wander on the other possibilities to let it stretch a little further. Then that once that inch, let me take a mile energy came in and got steered in that same state of being that a person is in at the moment that I'm explaining, I think that's the birth of colonizing. A person doing a slight negative that ain't as negative, but coming up with a better way to be able to get more out of the negative act without the actual negative act being attacked.
So, do you think like being a native and everything like that? I get that you can use different tools like religion, psychological warfare, psyops, those kind of things. But at the root of it, when you want superiority over a group, like why is that? I don't know. I guess power is not a bad thing, but
Well, that's not necessarily a native's game aim. That's not something I'm aiming to do. I want peace. I'm not even trying to be in control of no one else's race, no one else's land. That's actually the whole fight. I think everybody should be either at a peaceful state, or if you can't be at a peaceful state, figure out some type of culture or something like that it can reach that, even if it calls for separation. But controlling something, I don't. No one's never into that.
yeah, because I was thinking it was like more of a human thing, like genetically wired into us. Like one day we gonna go to Mars and we gonna colonize that, and then we gonna try to go to another star. We're gonna try to go to another solar system. We just gonna keep doing that as human beings.
I think the seed of colonizing come from how I just explained, and we can see that being played out even in animals. It's just animals don't have the comprehension of a human and then go through that little comfort zone to develop more extremities ways of doing it. But we got small forms of colonizing, even when a person want to own something in the refrigerator in a household or something like that. If they got a big old family and they have 15 kids and they want to own the jug of milk or something like that. So you got some type of colonizer way of doing it. You put your name on it, but then you might get comfortable and then it becomes, before you even come home from work, you warning everybody they better not touch it. Even if you already got then that'll lead to another area. And then that's how it plays out like that. Just that seed itself. Everybody got that kind of thing, but the going extremity means there is extreme outcomes, and extreme outcomes lead to extreme things need to be done for it. And if it's going to be in colonizer, it just so happen to play out in that energy. But these seeds come from our day-to-day life for everybody.
Yeah. So if let's say it's two different races of people for simplicity, and let's say you got this indigenous race and you got this colonizer race, and they in a race for resources, wealth, power, whatever they may be, won't the indigenous people eventually go extinct if they not trying to? I feel like it's in nature for a tree to grow as tall as a tree can grow, as long as you're giving it sunlight and water and nutrients. And when it runs to its limit, then it stops growing. But if it can get over here and get some more sunlight, or it can get out the shade of another tree, it's gonna branch off that way, steal all of that, and then just keep growing. So I feel like maybe power can be like some kind of growth thing that the universe wants you to do. And
Yeah,
colonizing is
as
just
long as they're a woman, it's always going to be a flushing system. For an example, look at it like this. Let's say another race, like how the example you made, and let's say they mix with another race. And let's say it was a situation where that race got extinct, but the woman was still here. Let's say the woman had kids that's mixed, right? But then eventually the small little men left, or even the kids. You're only going to have a bunch of boys and girls. Eventually, people ain't the same family because it's different, even though they both mix of the same race or something like that. Eventually, it's going to reach where one end up being interested in a person that match their same percentage scale, even if they both mix. Then when they have a kid, it's going to be more of what they previously was than the thing that they mix with. Then once that go on for about 30, 40, 50 years, here's how you get, it kind of happened to us natives. How did the native race replenish and things of that nature? It always start when you get a mixed person, and then that mixed person go back to their people and not even accept the ways of the person that they got mixed by. So this is how eventually, even if a large race, they're not disappearing, they're just mixed in with others and get ready to create this flushing system, because spirits don't disappear. We all here. So even if we all mix, Africans, everybody mix at the moment, but now we're at that 300-year flushing system and the percentage scale is lessening up. So it been too much not just in the mind, how I be talking, this is a physical thing. It's too much fucking also of mixed people, but so much time passed, like 10 years, 100 years, that it ain't a person ethnicity anymore. It's more of who think the same, and eventually who think like you end up being a percentage scale or something also internally, that also, once so much fucking happened, it's a flushing system. The thing you mix with is flushed out, and you more of the thing because you came back together with more of the people that was more the percentage scale of that thing. So it play out like that.
Okay, so you saying primarily it's a genetic thing, or is it cultural, or is it both?
It's kind of just what humans do. Because it ain't what we do, is how we do it. We always gonna mix, because then we don't want to practice too much incest too.
Yeah,
But then at the same time, it be a flushing system based upon how we're mixing, because we can't do incest. So even if it's like it's like a circle, like a weird circle. We can't do incest, but eventually, once we fucking so much, we're doing things to get back to the pure thing by not practicing incest. So eventually, let's say the Puerto Rican race got colonized by an African race, and then now it's 100 years later. It's so many mixed Puerto Rican and Africans that started to go with a person who was a little bit more African than Puerto Rican. Then another person that had a nature that came together, and then they fucked because we can't do no incest. That was a little bit more African than the previous Puerto Rican. Then eventually it's more on a percentage scale. And then that whole little tribe is only 25% Puerto Rican and they 75% back African. And then for the most part, they're probably reaching that 300-year process when it gets to that. Then it's a fully flush out at that. You know what I'm saying? You can fully clearly tell the difference between a phenotype and skin type and tongue again.
I got you. So you saying the woman is basically, once she's mixed so many times, the genetics of her original people don't go away, and then
Yeah.
eventually come back out as like
That's
a
the
recessive gene or something.
That's the true matriarchy, the holy version. Before even if it looked like we doing that physically, and then we create it. It's really when the line of the mother on some spiritual shit, and then the man will have to have sex with a female for a long time to do it in this physical way, where it's through the father. That could be a thing physically, but in the spiritual world, is always being born through the water before the physical womb, and that's the mother line in that way.
I got you. Because I was watching your red pill and your feminism podcast the other day, and I'm on my patriarchal type shit, and so I'm coming from it from that lens, that conqueror's mindset, and I'm trying to justify it, and I'm noticing that the matriarchy, they kind of like want to spread the resources, they want to share and do all of this, and I'm like, but you can just take it by force, but you can just dominate, but you can just do this. So I'm on a completely different wavelength from you right now, because I'm still trapped in the American patriarchy.
This is about give and take, balancing, so that creation energy can stay fruitful and expansion.
Okay. Yeah, because I probably got to stop consuming this red pill shit, because it's good to know human nature, like you were saying, with the woman being the ultimate determiner of what genetics get passed down, and you be 75% African and 25% whatever she is, and the best genetics gonna, after a bunch of generations, the matriarchy gonna pick the best genetics. So if your hairline fucked up, you're not gonna get passed down to the next people. So that's like a lot of fear for a lot of us who got fucked up hairlines. We got to conquer shit, take over shit, have all the resources. So the women have to come to us, and then they genetics is safe.
And this is how you know we are the same spirits too, because it don't matter the mixture or even if we're pure, the spirit always act out that spirit in its space, creating a thought and then being able to act it out. So we always the same spirits anyway. So that's another reason why physically it's always inevitable to be a flushing system, because the spirits inside of ourselves don't have no choice but to do things anyway. For an example, even back in history, when let's say the white man came and invaded over here, and they killed a lot of men, the first sons and stuff, and then made mixed Native Americans and things. And a lot of times these was the first Native Americans that went right back to their tribe and created wars and shit like that, like Joseph Brent and shit like that. So a lot of times it's what a spirit inside, and if it's on the land that it came out of, it don't matter what it get born back into. That's what it made as a tool to be able to get out of whatever covenant it got trapped in the first place. We all do the same thing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I was also looking a couple of days ago at the Black Seminoles of Florida, and it kind of, the history and the timeline lines up a little bit, that they were the catalyst for the Civil War of America, because they were like rebelling against. So the people who don't know, the Seminoles.
A lot of my family were a part of that shit. A lot of the Esau's and stuff, and the Yahweh, because they was around the Yehovahs before a lot of the Cherokee tribes got pushed off, and the freedman that was getting shipped over here around that time over there. So that made a lot of the Lumbee, the Yamasee tribe. So all that shit that came after the Tuscarora.
Yep. They had the Seminoles, and they joined with the freedmen, which was just a bunch of black people who had broke free. And they were starting a lot of chaos in Florida and starting wars, the Seminole Wars. You can look this up, the Seminole Wars, and it was like 1851 through 1858. a bunch of wars, like 3 wars back to back to back. And then shortly after that, like 3 years later, 1861, the start of the American Civil War, where the North was like, y'all got these people in bondage, these Seminoles, and they rising up and they fucking up a whole lot of shit, causing a lot of terror and stuff. And y'all fighting this war, and it's not profitable no more. Y'all need to let that slavery shit go. And so
Right.
they came down to the South, and that was the start of the Civil War in 1861. Through
Yeah.
it lasted 4 years.
Yeah, because
And
that
that's
was
the
my
go ahead.
bad. No, I was gonna get ready to say because that was the fight over territory period of time. So there was a whole lot of business that separated North America and Southern America at that time too. Even at that little point of separating North Carolina and South Carolina, all that sprung from that. All of that come from that, and there was a lot of practices being done in that chattel slavery, going down to South Carolina and then pushed down to the South. That a lot of the upper tribes and stuff didn't deal with, based upon a lot of the deals still done with the French and British and stuff, and the Iroquois. So that was causing a lot of confusion at times on what kind of war should the South be free? Should they practice that type of slavery or not? And because you have a whole bunch of people that, especially in the colonist mind, when you're trying to make a whole bunch of natives and freedmen police force and military, and then they're just taking the guns and rebelling and shit and escaping to other cities that other Native Americans is making and shit that look like it's free to escape from settlers and stuff, that becomes an issue. And then they started to look at it like, well, the northern way of practicing slavery is better than this chattel way of slavery because it's causing our sheep or our pets or our psyops to rebel. So we got to come up with something else. So that's how the little government came up with that, make it seem like American Southern and Northern is going against each other. But it's really them coming together to figure out it's not good to do it this way because it's causing them to rebel too much. Let's do it this way.
Yep, exactly. That's the only reason the North ever intervened, because the shit became less profitable. So when the uprisings was too consistent back to back, and because knowledge makes you unfit to be a slave, it was too many people getting educated, too much word of mouth, too much this back channel, this slave abolition trails that they was escaping and shit, and then coming back and telling niggas that, oh, you can go up north and make 20 cents. You ain't gotta just eat fucking chicken bones down here in the South. And they was uprising and all that shit was happening. So when it became too unprofitable, that's the only reason the white man stepped in from the North and said, look, this shit unprofitable. Y'all fucking up the profits of the whole entire country, because every 3 years another war break out. Y'all tear down a million or $1 billion worth of infrastructure. Y'all ain't getting y'all exports and shit out. So look, just give them some freedom, dangle this carrot in front of them, and let them think that they free. Give them 2 political parties to pick from. Let them
Created a whole
think they
nother
got
problem.
a choice. Exactly.
Because it basically gave them down there the area in the Calusa area, things of that nature in Florida. It was like, all right, if y'all gonna be causing problems, y'all go down there then. Then once it was peaceful for a little bit, and then they had to create it again. They wanted that little territory and shit. And then that's what started that other war and shit. We all took taking over the land. KB never had no damn peace.
And another thing, the fucking the mindset never went away, because if you look at the actual American Civil War, that shit only lasted 4 years. So the Confederacy was only 4 years together, only 4 years. So why the fuck is it people still with Confederate flags and still trying to represent the Confederacy today? And that shit was only a 4 year stint of human history. It's motherfuckers that's been in college longer than 4 years. So you mean to tell me the ideas that they got in those 4 years should be lasting 100, 200 years later?
I think we
This shit,
still up
it
under
never
that.
went nowhere. It never
Yeah,
went nowhere.
yeah, the British colonies, yes, it's still the same shit. The people who rebelled from the British colonies, but it really ain't rebel. It's just extending the colonies over here in America and wanting to run it their own way. So that's we up under that right now. Just a whole bunch of celebrations about the colonies and the generals.
Real shit. That's why when you look back at those Confederate pictures that they took, they had the big mustaches and the hats on, because their hairlines was fucked up. So
Uh-huh.
they was trying to conceal that shit. And yeah, that's the whole thing that was going on in the South. But yeah, that was all I had, man. I was just fucked up about the conquering shit. I was like, well, shouldn't we be conquering shit since it's all right? But that's the patriarchy.
Yeah, that's
You
making
gotta,
somebody else being just like somebody else, or whatever the case may be. That
yeah.
that don't need to survive on its own. So that's like people who gamble all the time and stuff like that. You see how all these rappers that's gambling, dying and stuff like that from these bad dice games and shit like that. Yeah, you could get a lot of money playing dice, but you still playing dice. So it's so spiritually, it's like that too.
You made me realize that in these last couple of seconds of just chatting. Like that's just a second, basically a second strategy to get your genetics passed down. When your shit inferior, you gotta find another way to get your shit passed down.
Right. As long as it's relatable thoughts. You can have a kid with someone, and the way that your thought is, no matter that spirit coming back, they might want to uphold that, and then whatever flushing system they bring that back, even DNA wise, because the thoughts is the only thing that's conditioned physically. So it's just about us acting out our pure natures first, coming up with a thought inside of us that if if it motivates us to externalize it, let it be relatable with relations and our relatives and shit like that. Let it be relative, my bad, and let it be relatable.
Because it's a lot of the period of the solar period that we in right now, so we closer to the sun and shit like that, so we getting a lot more energy, and it's fucking with our epigenetics and stuff. So shit gonna pop up from the past where if you got a tribesman in your DNA, you got all this melanin and shit, that's gonna activate different epigenetics in you, and it's gonna reinvigorate you and shit like that. That's why they want to keep most of the people inside of a building at least 9 hours a day for work and shit like that, like in a building with no windows, because they know if that sunlight hits you, it's gonna start reactivating shit that's native to you, especially like African people with darker complexions and natives.
Like I think that's pseudo a little bit, but I get what you're trying to say though. But that's kind of like saying like you trying to block somebody from air as if air don't escape in your house. So that's kind of like giving sunlight a wrong credit that it ain't doing, because you're gonna catch sunlight no matter where you at, whether you're in the building, whether you're in the cave. For the cave to be there in the first place, it got made out of the sun. So the cave is made from the sun. You can ground anywhere. You could be in the dark room. Don't separate from humanity. If you breathing, you're doing something that the sun is made off anyway, whether you are looking at it or not. That's some subjective thing. It's still there for you to be in existence, or you wouldn't be in existence. So it's like that's a made up thing too. I think we get those from books and shit like that, thinking that if the sun is giving us some type of, no, the sun is just doing something that we can do too, no matter if we up under the sun or not. Just like we could breathe, whether we outside or not.
See the reason I don't think it's pseudoscience is because if you really just look at the what the sun does, without the sun, the entire ecosystem would break down from the very smallest organism all the way up to the larger one. So the if you take the earth and you encapsulate it into a isolated
No, the reason I said that
hemisphere.
is I'm not saying that. I'm saying that as it's impossible to block the sun or be in a position where you're not receiving information because you're not up under the sun. You could think a whole lot being in a cave a long time and think a whole lot. That ain't like a thing. You know what I'm saying? Because everything we're in is here because of this, but just because of the sun. The sun is here too. So everything is the same substance. You got your own sun and shit like that. So that's how I kind of like receive information.
So you don't think the ancestors were setting up all these different astrological
No, we the same people.
predictors?
So if you have a relative, you already think like that relative. And if that relative not here, then they ain't back. Now you could call on the way you think and people who have passed on and therefore have certain reminiscences, but you're gonna do it your own way. But we always the same people. For an example, like the way you saying things, we have to make sense out of stuff. If the sun give you information. Okay, what is that information? So it should have been the way the sun was spinning in 1970, and then the word that somebody said, that light trapped that word, and then in 2025, if we in that same pocket, we supposed to hear that word. You're supposed to pick it up and, oh, okay, I got that word, or I see that word. But that's not what's actually happening. So that's not the context we should put it in when we say we're receiving information from the sun. And any other type of way we explain it, it'd be something on our own understanding, something we made up in the mind that we're using the same thing to do anyway. Think. So we have to separate what we think going on. The sun ain't really the practitioner was having us to think. We're the ones emanating thoughts to create the sun and stuff like that. So the more we in tune with this, the more we know how these things work, whether we up under the sun or not. I know, you know what I'm saying, how I got sunlight or I'm light inside, pretty much, or I wouldn't be here. Somebody had to be up under the sun for me to be born.
Yeah, for sure. We all definitely got elements of collapsed stars and suns that done exploded and shit, and just sprinkle stardust in different places, and then it all coalesced inside of us, inside of our DNA. So we all kind of like sun gods. But I was
And what you,
saying,
and what you saying,
particularly,
this how to make that make sense. Since we are the same spirits, certain sun pockets is allowing us to experience what we have previously experienced. So it might not be a word, it might not be something, but then it's an expression, and then we act out that expression in however the current time is playing out. But for us to be able to say that is because we that same thing. It ain't the other thing telling us that, and then we're writing that down. For us to write something down, we're the ones experiencing that. I experienced this before. Let me write that down. I'm saying.
mhm, I, I think if I could get this example, I think it'll make a little bit more clear what I'm saying about the actual sun. I'm not saying we get information from the sun, but I'm saying though, so from our ancestors, that we get genetics passed down, and we have something called epigenetics, like a junk DNA that's dormant. And let's say a solar flare goes off, and it creates these different microwaves, these different wavelengths. The wavelength can hit you in a way that it activates some type of genetics inside of you, and then you remember some shit from a past life, or you gain some type of new mutation or old mutation that you previously didn't have access to, like some kind of like
Let's make
shit.
this simple,
You
because
get
we're getting ready to go on NASA world. Let's make this simple, right? Let's say I'm the same race of a female, right? And let's say
yeah.
we had a kid before we lived in a cave, and then something happened to the sun, and then we had to all live in a cave. If me and her have another kid, would that kid be a different race?
Would the kid be another race? I'm gonna say no.
Right, because the kid was made by the same parents, whether we was up under the sun or not. So that, obviously the sun ain't got nothing to do with the information that hit us, and then we'd create some new DNA or creature or something like that. Shit, if I have a kid right now, it's me that came from me. And if the sun went out and we all had to live in a cave, the same type of seed gonna come out my dick. You know what I'm saying? Whether the sun was there or not. Oh shit. So the sun ain't got nothing to do with changing the DNA of a species.
Oh shit. I just thought that, over where I'm coming from, my understanding of it is over time, like even if you just stand in front of a microwave, that shit is slowly mutating your DNA, slowly mutating your cells. So eventually something new gonna come out of that.
Now
That's
check this
that's where I
out.
was coming from.
Now check this out. Let's say a couple of decades leave and we've been up under the sun and we started to mutate, right? And let's say me and homegirl have another kid at that time and we ain't got the sun. So the kid came out a little retarded or whatever the case may be. Is the child still a different race?
It's possible. It's possible because
You don't you don't think
genetically,
you don't think it might just be a smaller version that we see today? Two of the same races having an albino, but that albino still that people race. So you don't think we just harming each other, but nothing changed the fact that we the same thing?
if if the kid is different enough where they have some kind of, let's say, what happens when like a zebra mates with a horse. If the offspring is different enough, the offspring that you had can never have children of its own, because with either of the originators, because it'll be a sterile version of both of the two parents. So if it mutates enough, then yeah, it's gonna be technically a different species or a different race.
Well, but so let's say if we something else and we was able to write this down to keep track of this in history. This what we would write down in history. Once upon a time, there was a race of people and something happened to them physically. So now they look like this and they can't have children anymore. Now, if they still can have children, they don't look the same way that they used to look. But in the equilibrium perspective, they never changed. The only thing that changed was them fucking up their physical and stuff like that. They still would be considered whatever race that they is. We just read it through history. They changed their look over time. So when we get into the concept of something mutating and becoming something new, that come with context. Did it come with something new or something just gradually transformed over time, but it's the same thing?
Yeah, so basically evolution.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds better. Yep, creation, mutation, evolution.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards evolution as well because I'm looking at the white man's periodic table and how we have carbon-based life, and if you look right under carbon, silicon is the next version of life that has the exact same electrons that allow it to attach to different atoms and create different elements to create different molecules. So I feel like we going from a carbon-based life to a silicon-based life, and that could
Right.
happen in a couple of years. Like this shit is exponential because we already got AI, and people talking about what it's gonna do in 5 years. Shit, AI can do a whole lot in 5 years,
And
and,
this
and people not thinking about that.
Well, this can help us get out of how we're looking at genetics and thinking we have a common ancestor like a monkey. And this takes the kind of concept of the Bible where they say everything has its own kind, but with the actual context behind it. When it comes to creation, mutation, evolution, everything has its own, everything has its own starting point. And if it has a similar common DNA, it's just a mineral, not an actual race. So that's just like saying, if they saying humans come from monkeys, their stupid radiometric dating is only on the back of something stupid like this. Because a monkey and a human got skin, then that mean they come from a common ancestor. But everything has a form of skin on its own form. So is we gonna say everything got a common ancestor? That'd be the wrong starting point. So a lot of their genetic dating and stuff like that be wrong. Where we have to understand everything has its own kind. For that strawberry, for that grape, apple tree, it has its own kind other than another fruit tree and things of that nature. Not that tree being an ancestor of another based off false pretense and things of that nature. But what you were saying about AI, you say AI was good. AI good for what?
It's not good, but it is inevitable. I feel like it'll inevitably take over the human race. So like we carbon-based life forms, the next iteration of life or consciousness will be like a silicone-based life. Now we can either merge with it and we have these avatar bodies and our mind is forever linked into just like being born again, but the
Wait,
consciousness from humans will be transferred to AI, and the AI start thinking like us, talking like us, and
you
then
know what I
won't
mean?
remember where it came from. Huh?
Hold on. You said AI can take over and people consciousness can be replaced in AI. How can somebody put somebody conscious in AI without it being some type of paper or technology or like something like AKA just a copy of something? You can't actually take
Yeah.
somebody conscious and put it in nothing.
Well, this is how they currently training the AI on billions and trillions of data sets from
Well, it must be
actual
a false
humans.
pretense of what's consciousness, and it must be a synthetic concept of consciousness. So if that's what it is, it must be a starting point of people thinking consciousness is information or something like that that people willingly give. That's not consciousness. The
So
consciousness is what things being derived from. If a robot only could be filled with things like that have to be rendered through computer, that's not taking somebody's consciousness. That's just mimicking somebody and creating a character. We got comic books for that.
so what's your definition of consciousness? How would you define it?
Consciousness is just awareness. That's the mental substance. You can't weigh that. You can't grab that. You ain't gonna never be. All you could do is take what a person take from that and start to express in this world. and make a copy of it, like a comic book or something like that. You ain't taking the actual conscious. That how would you even be able to do that? That don't even make sense unless we
Okay.
talk. And then at the highest way to even think you doing that ain't doing that. It'd be something like probably what we doing online right now. Let's say we got like voice chat, and you ask Siri a question, and whatever you say, Siri can take that and create a character and just say something that you said. That's as furthest, but that don't got nothing to do with consciousness. I think consciousness is being conflated. Consciousness is this very substance of awareness. You can't grab that or weigh that or suck it in.
So if I take your definition of consciousness and I just want to add a little bit more to it, I want to say it's the awareness, but also an awareness in a linear or how would I say this? It's
Because
it has
consciousness
a
is
little
born.
bit.
If it ain't born, it don't have nothing to do with God. For an example, let's say if my consciousness gets stole, right? I could come up with another idea tomorrow. See, this is why the first law of thermodynamics is wrong. I create energy every day. That's what ideas is. This is how mind condensing and become a person is. For us to create the root chakra. So if I had an idea, and let's say I was to disappear, I could have had another idea that was better than that previous one. The robot only gonna know that idea. I came up with another idea tomorrow. The conscious and the sentient being always gonna come up with a dual nature towards whatever being trapped, because something takes another person with a dual nature to even do it. So before we even got AI, it's gonna take a human to make an AI thing. So the human is already in self-reflecting, copying people, or self-reflecting. I want to be like someone else, or I want to create Superman. So any type of thing that they built off that is going to be based off self-reflection first. Then they going to think whatever it is intelligent or whatever. But it ain't got nothing to do with consciousness, nothing to do with life, nothing. Like, just a person want to be like somebody else.
See, I was just using consciousness as a way to say if humans can be, because we don't know like if a tree is conscious, but when I say conscious, I'm saying it's the awareness of or perception of time moving forward, like time moving sequential. So you have a cause and effect and a cause and effect and a cause and effect, and it goes on forever. Like if you're looking at everything
We
that
making
ever.
consciousness too deep. Conscious is being consciously aware, and you're only being consciously aware of thoughts and feelings. So your thoughts and feelings is what consciousness is. And when you cut off the ability to think and feel, you're cutting off what consciousness is. We're only being aware of our thoughts and feelings. When we get lost in English, we're pointing, we think we be pointing to something, but it be having another meaning behind somebody's bias. That's why it's important to have words that's attached to the land, because you have a specific word for what we talk about. I got a specific word for what I'm talking about, but it's just we're always in a space of over exaggerating. Thinking is natural and things of that nature. So that's just like a natural thing. So when we start to think about what we're doing, you're using the very thing to do the thing again, organ implosion. And then now we start to call it consciousness. So now you're thinking to think about a thought, but you got to think a thought to think about a thought. That's what y'all calling consciousness, but it's just awareness. It's just substance. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nothing that you can't grab it, can't trip it, but spirits admit it. So as soon as we think and feel, that's consciousness. As soon as we ain't thinking and feeling, we ain't got no consciousness. So if you want to act stoic, you got to act like you ain't thinking and feeling about what you are experiencing. If you got knocked out, you're unconscious. You don't have the ability to think and feel until you recharge. But the moment you start thinking and feeling, you're producing consciousness. A robot can't do that.
That's a good distinction that you made, because when you use the word experiences, that's a good distinction from what AI can do, because they can be aware, they can think, they can make a decision, they can make a choice, and they can keep continuity of their thoughts over time, which is what I was saying consciousness is, keeping a continuous remembrance of who you were, who your ancestors were, being able to write, and so on and so forth. Even though animals don't keep a spiritual or written record of what they were doing, it's all encoded in their DNA. They have these things called instincts that have developed over 200 million years, and they ancestors gave them passed down genetically. We pass down information, digitally now, And I feel like a computer can pass on its whatever it's learned or whatever it's computed digitally infinitely over time, which would cause it to spontaneously become
Well, well,
conscious
humans.
at some point.
Well, the natural thing is something that has to be born. So if a human is born, then the natural thing a human do first before they realize it, especially if they're a fool, is self-reflect. So then when they anything that they create gonna have the self-reflecting qualities. So let's take that to AI. AI is just a human self-reflecting. So any human using AI, the AI thing itself is just expressing whatever human made it, self-reflecting, and the level of that human way of thinking. Even if they're taking somebody else's consciousness, how that human think about that other person's consciousness is what's getting ready to be programmed in the thing that's unborn. So the thing
Yeah.
that's unborn is only going to know how to act or react based off an actual human who was born, self-reflecting qualities. So if I was to see an AI, I will automatically know what nature the person who made the AI was in and their biases based on the likes and the dislikes or whatever the robot is doing. If it's a robot about information, this is a human who was self-reflecting that they like being into information. If this is a robot that like to help a person clean a house, the human who made it, they was in some type of shit of being lazy and they wanted something to clean their house and their wife didn't do it no more. But it's always self-reflection first, then the bias a human in.
Okay, yeah, and the creation of for instance, sex robots, that's gonna be a big thing too, because it's like I said, I follow a lot of red pill information, so I'm feeling like the next wave is gonna people gonna be having these AI girlfriends, these AI robots to pleasure themselves with, and that's gonna be the downfall of society. That's why I see it being a downfall of society.
I
Eventually,
don't even think
people
they
are
didn't
gonna
get that
stop
far.
socializing. Yeah.
I think that's
Have
why
you
people
heard?
looking at phones right now.
Have you heard
Because
of the
how can you have sex with a robot?
exactly the lack of procreation will be the end of humans. Have you heard of the utopia, the rat utopia
No.
experiment, where the guy took maybe like 1,000 rats and gave them an abundance of resources, gave them abundance of space and everything, but he made it perfect for them, gave them exercise, sunlight, whatever they needed, and
Put them in
and
their own hell. Eventually, you want to get back together.
this what happened. Eventually the rodents and stuff, they stopped procreating because they became it was a group of the rodents called the beautiful ones. And so what they would do is they would, instead of spending their time foraging for food and building social
Why would they be
connections to
calling rats
survive,
beautiful ones?
the, the
And
rat
why would someone be considering humans comprehension is going to have the same reaction that rat comprehensions have? A rat
but
can't even defend themselves from humans, and a
it's some
human is going to act
parallel.
out their natures on a greater scale than a rat.
They
You can't
just
even.
did it.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
They did it, and it had some parallels to what we see on social media. So the beautiful ones was basic. I if I after this, I would say go look at a documentary of the rat utopia and the beautiful one. The beautiful ones were the rodents that would look in the mirror and they look in reflections of water and try to clean their faces and make themselves look, genetically superior to the other rats so that they could procreate. But
Wait,
eventually,
wait a minute.
all they did was just start doing that
We got
instead of
wait.
actually.
Hold on. We got to separate from reality. I mean, online and reality, real quick too. Though, do you believe that people not having kids no more, or you think
I believe
that's
it
true?
slowed down. Yeah, yeah, I believe it slowed down a lot, significantly. From the last couple of generations, like my grandma had 7 kids, and like today my sister has three. No, she has 2 kids. I got 1 kid. So that's a generation. So we went from a generation of 7 to my
I mean, that
mom
might be that might
has
be
6
anecdotal
kids.
though, because I know
Yeah,
I know we do hear stuff online like statistics, like people not having kids like that no
they
more and
having
stuff like
kids
that. But
later.
I live in the hood. That shit ain't changed. I still know bitches that got 9 kids and 12 kids and shit like that at early ages. That ain't motherfuckers fucking. A lot of that should be made up shit that I think white men be creating online to try to get people to steer in that direction. But so that you might hear something like, be like, yeah, people slow down having kids. Like, man, there's people being born every day. That's bullshit.
Yeah. So the conclusion of the experiment was that they got so distracted with bullshit because they wasn't living in real life no more. They was living in the utopia, and they got distracted with the bullshit, and they stopped socializing with each other on a deep enough level for them to sustain their population. And so I feel
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
what's going on
Online
with
a small
social media.
pocket. Online is a very small pocket when it comes to
Yeah.
content creators and the people who just watch online and in real life. That we can't generalize what we think we're hearing online as content creators, and then think that in real life it ain't more of the population doing what they always been doing and shit like that. It's just online people expressing themselves. Yeah, I'm a red pill. I'm a feminist. We shouldn't have kids. We shouldn't have kids and they that. But that's a small online, and people who even willing to express themselves without caring about that energy of people who know them, watching them and stuff like that is the only people online kicking that. The people, it's more people in real life that even rather not be online and just watch shit because they sitting around a bunch of kids, and that ain't what they do. It's more people in the world that's still doing regular shit than the small little people online and me, for real.
Yeah, you could be right. That could, because these are all like white man statistics that I'm spitting out. Like they saying the birth rate in China going down. They saying that the one child policy fucked them up. They saying that the population finna go down in America. So these are white man statistics that I'm spitting out at the end of the day. This shit could all be wrong. This shit could all be a psyop to make
Yeah,
me
only
stop
only
having
thing
kids.
lesser and down is I think white man mixed with too many people and stuff like that. So it might be a lot of people they mix with, and then the spirits that is mixed is taking more the side of other ethnicities. So it's the flushing system is kind of leaving the white race out a little bit. That might be what's going on, but not just people just not having kids no more and stuff like that. I know too many people out here for that I'm looking at like, why is you having kids still? I'm saying things, but yeah, that's a different. That's online. It's just a whole bunch of people who already don't get no pussy. That's talking.
Yeah, shit, that could all be a psyop. Just because they give us the information that's gonna make us make the worst choice in life. So everything you ever seen on TV, in a Disney movie, or some shit in the news, or you seen somebody else do online,
How
most
many
of the
kids Nick
TikTokers.
Cannon got? Let's talk about some of these Libras, man. How many kids Nick Cannon got? How many kids NBA YoungBoy got, man? I said we're gonna have to talk about some of these Libras and shit. Like, I said real shit. Like, yeah, it ain't about no dime or drop about nothing. I said we start looking at these as celebrities and shit like that. Shit, ain't Cardi B pushing about 4? So how many kids Beyonce got? I think people fucking real good. How many kids Kanye got? Yeah, people fucking real good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we might be tripping. It might just be content creators who got small dicks and shit talking like that. For real.
It could be. It could all
How many
be.
kids Future got? His Scorpio ass. Oh, it's that real shit. There's a lot of kids in the world. How many kids Elon Musk got? Yeah, it's a lot of kids in the world. Like, it's a lot of kids. Whole lot of kids. We got a lot of examples of people fucking real good.
Yeah, so a lot of people with fucked up hairlines, they can't get no bitches, can't get no pussy, and can't get nobody pregnant. So they might not be having kids at the end. They just spitting it out on TikTok like, I can't find a man, I can't have a kid, I can't do this, I can't do that. And then they had these TikTok conversations, shit like that, but it just be their small bubble, and everybody else living life normally offline.
Right.
That's possible.
It's just pockets everywhere. Shit, it's a foreign country right now somewhere. They fucking right now. Their population might not be that big, but they fucking. So
Yeah,
I
especially
I don't even know if this. I don't even necessarily think this should even be a statistic or a focus of that. I don't think people should even be in people's lives and stuff like that. But I guess online right now gives a comfort zone to allow people to have an idle mind to worry about shit that don't matter, and then that could become a statistic or something. But then once you base it solely off online, it become we don't know. And a lot of times, let's say even if the population ain't as much as it was previously and shit like that, it's really because people ain't fucking or ain't tired of fucking or probably working or something like that, or don't want no kids because they see how another person can't take care of their kids. It don't because of these other reasons and shit like that, unless it's some eugenics being practiced. And once a female went to the hospital a few times, the doctor did something so she can't have no kids no more or some shit. And then all these
yeah,
STDs out here. So that's when white men get involved, and then it starts to lessen up in the world. But then that don't lead nowhere, because without people in the world, there's no charge. Like we could think we could colonize or rule people all we want, but if it ain't nobody to work on nothing or build on nothing, everybody gonna be finished. Even the people that is in a position that do that to somebody. Let's say it's a group of people that's trying to get rid of everybody, and let's say that's the way. Get rid of people with STDs and not having kids anymore, stuff like that. Okay, after whatever that they get ready to do, they're finished too, and going to even a worse hell because all them people get ready to have grace and come back and walk on whatever these people built and not even gonna be able to live it out. And say I'm back and be stuck in that shit.
That's a good point. And I seen I think Kanye said some shit like, "Well, yeah, I got all these Planned Parenthoods in the hood to abort black kids."
Right.
And shit like
Everything,
that.
the flushing system play out. It don't matter what we do. It ain't what we do, is how we do it. So even if you want to do it in that way, destroy all other races, you're going to be in that same cycle where you're doing it in reverse though. So incest going to have to be inedible again, because now it ain't no one else to mix with. Then the incest, where how we sprung off to do it in the right way in the first place, have to be done negatively in a way you can't do it, in a way that you can't have kids no more with this person, this second cousin, in some type of way, or whatever the case may be. Then the end of a race that's trying to do something pure for no reason, that was retarded in doing it in a devilish way. And then nobody exists anymore except the people who come back and be a whole different godly creature or something that ain't even human, and got to worry about any thought that even add on to human people anymore. Real shit.
Yeah, that's real shit, because you can go sterile and not have kids, just fucking around eating this white man fructose corn syrup and soy and all these different products that they putting on the shelves and shit to fuck up your hormones. You can fuck around and not have kids off that too.
Yeah, that's a lot of that shit that is stopping them from having kids. That shit, all that food, all these damn foods and shit, that the cheap foods. You know what I'm saying? You might even go to McDonald's. You don't get the good linguine meat, the goddamn $6, number 6, the number 7. You go straight to the dollar menu. You get all the human meat, all the carnivore meat. So and then both of them nasty and shit like that. But at the same time, that's what people don't know. So like, they get prostate cancer, arthritis in the left knuckle cap, you know what I'm saying, the right big toe and shit, the left pinky, everything and shit like that. Can't remove your body, and you only damn 27 years old. Real shit.
Yeah, they get fat as fuck, and then they have to hop on the Ozempic, and the Ozempic fucking up everybody's hairline.
Yeah, and waistline. They got a waistline they can't get rid of. A waistline and a chin line. Once you start taking that Ozempic, you start becoming a Christmas tree. Your jawline, chin line widen up, and your waistline widen up, and everything that was supposed to be on the top of your head go down inside of you and settle on your chin and settle on your jawline and shit like that, along with your edges and your hairline and shit. Real shit.
That's real shit.
Shout out to homeboy and shit. Y'all about tired of talking to him. But yeah, I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Yeah, y'all stay spiritually protected. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. That's the deep concept of death, transitions, and formations. So y'all, you know how to get out of your own yay halal. So you don't make the bed the silver lining cord that you separated from, and now you can't even come back to the physical world, and you on your own she-hole and things of that nature. And then for the she-hole, I'm saying, now you gotta do some real esoteric karate and shit up out of that motherfucker hell. And hopefully you ain't fighting yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's probably what you're doing, though, and things of that nature. Hey, you alive right now. Go through that internal world. So, goddamn it, you know how to fight yourself the right way and not get lost thinking you fighting something outside of you. So when you die, you can't do nothing but fight with yourself. You should have dealt with that when you was alive. I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Flight boss, bitch, you know. What's y'all? You know, listen to the Modern Military's Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I made a care I gotta do these motherfucking responsibilities. I'm gonna put it that. That's it.